have these sample ballots and Crown, the beautiful Oxnard public and the voters. Are you ready? Excellent, great. So we're about to start here. First of all, let me thank you all for being here. I want to introduce myself again. My name is Alex Rivera. I'll be doing some of the hosting duties for you tonight. We've did a lot of work, a lot of planning, a lot of work for you to make this a very special evening for you. So we're very excited and we're thankful that you're here to see the candidates in person, and we will be providing a video after this debate concludes. I want to introduce one of my friends. Her name is Cynthia Beltran, and this is my wonderful partner. She and I will be the hosts. So if you have any questions, please come and see us. And before we get started, and I turn it over to our moderators, I want to introduce to you another friend. She's the Cal Lutheran debate captain, and she'll be also on the host panel after the debate. Her name is Clay Denon, and she will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance with the little children of Oxnard. So, Clay, please. And little children.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My friend Richard Linares, will you please lead us in the invocation?
Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight in the name of your precious Son, Jesus Christ. We pray, God, that your grace and your wisdom would be here tonight. We pray for the spirit of peace. Father God, we just pray, God, that you would manifest yourself and that everybody would be able to handle themselves and conduct themselves in a way that's responsible and respectful. And we ask you these things in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen.
Candidate debate. Thank you very much for being here.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Pablo Ortiz, and as you see, I just took off my jacket. I am now in full referee garb. As you see, the referees in the boxing ring, they wear the blue shirt with the black bow tie. My co-moderator, Manuela Riola, is magically boxing twins. Tonight, we welcome you. We thank you for being here. We are appreciative that you're here. This is a history-making event. No one has ever had a boxing ring filled with candidates, especially in a special recall election. All right? So, yeah, how about a big round of applause? Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to talk a little bit about two things before we get started. Number one, there is a sample. I think they've been handed out. I'm not sure if they have, but if they have not, ask for one. A sample ballot that you will find in the May 1st election. It shows precisely who the candidates are, and it's a very interesting ballot in that it is totally different than any ballot you've ever probably used in the past. Because, for example, in the first box, it says, shall Tim Flynn be recalled, and in parentheses, removed from the office of mayor of the city of Oxnard? And the answer is either yes or no. And it's also repeated in Spanish. And then the next box asks candidates to succeed Tim Flynn as mayor of the city of Oxnard if, that's a key word, if he is recalled if he is recalled, term ending December 2018, vote for one. And then the 5 candidates that are running against or running to replace Tim Flynn are listed. You must select 2 boxes in this particular type of ballot. The first one, you select whether you want Tim Flynn recalled or not. Yes or no. You check it. Yes or no. The second box, you pick the person that is running against Tim to replace him, so that in the event Tim does not get his 51% to retain his seat, then we have to go to who's going to be the person that's going to take his seat. Correct? Does everybody understand? Alrighty then. Well, now talk about the rules of engagement. First of all, let me show you what the rules on the website look like. As you can see, they're quite lengthy. Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you all these rules tonight, folks. But as you can see up on our beautiful monitor behind our candidates, we do have them kind of like spotlighted for you. We want the candidates to respond to all questions. We ask no personal attack unless directly relevant per our moderators. And I don't expect something like that to occur. When the time is up, please stop. If you want to rebut, please ask for it. It's to the discretion of the moderators granted. The moderators may intervene on relevance. There is no interrupting, no foul language, no inappropriate behavior. Do you hear me? There's 2 minutes for the opening for each candidate. There'll be 45-second questions they can answer. And at the end of this round, round number 1, we will have a 1.5-minute close. And as the famous or infamous Mills Lane used to say in the ring, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get it on! Alrighty then. A 2-minute opening. So, and the first question, ladies and gentlemen, will be asked by my co-host, Manuel Arriola.
We have a mic problem. Okay, briefly, summarize your background, qualifications, and why you want or should keep the job, and describe your love and passion for the city of Oxnard.
This is your opening statement. Start with Bert. Is the mic on, sir?
Good evening, my name is Bert Crow, Oxnard City Council member. Good evening, my name is Bert Crow, an Oxnard City Council member. I thought that there would be an opening statement that I would read, the opening statement, but apparently it's a little differently now at the last minute. The reason that I'm running for my save my seat, I want everyone to understand this. I'm running on my election, the victory that I won the seat. I'm running against my record of defending the rights of the citizens of Oxnard to get the best elected officials they can. I feel that I have been a responsible elected official, and so I have some time here, let's go, 20 seconds. I was involved in neighborhood councils. I was elected in June of 13. I served a short term, was re-elected in the following year for a 4-year term. I have served on the council for almost 5 years, and I'm proud of my record. I've taken positions that in the past no one wanted to take. Some of the positions that I've taken, I've gone after the city council to fight for the $68,000 that we were recovering from the supplemental retirement benefits when the city manager for the city of Oxnard, Mr. Ed Sotelo, illegally gave away public funds. I helped save the city millions of dollars in providing the decisive Third vote, opposing the ill-advised proposed settlement of the former city manager Ellen Incitello's bogus lawsuit. I successfully persuaded my city council colleagues to adopt a first-ever whistleblower policy to combat government waste, fraud, and abuse, one which protects truth-telling city employees from unlawful management, retaliation, and harassment. I opposed hiring city manager Greg Nyhoff without a performance standards and job evaluation metrics included in his employment contract, and I will oppose any such efforts in the future. I oppose the ill-advised waiver of the large debt owed to the city of Oxnard and the sweetheart deal sale of the city-owned property in Heritage Square at a sale price that was $315,000 below the fair market value established by the appraiser for the city of Oxnard in 2016. Tonight I ask you to carefully consider my proven performance record. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I'm Mr. Casanova, and I'm the supervisor for Community College of the Air Force. I've been in Oxnard since 1998, over 20 years. I love Oxnard. I saw it when it was a lot smaller and growing along. I've been to a few meetings and sat in there, and I've reviewed the meetings on the circuit TV, what they have. I want to be part of Oxnard. I want to serve the community of Oxnard. And this is one of the ways that I can do that with dignity, right, and honesty. One of the things that I've seen that's happened here, a lot of times that I've seen through there, is the general practices are forgotten. The values are forgotten. Right? One of the ones that the one that I see is lead by example. You have to lead by example. You have to have the mind of the people, right? For them to have respect on you, for them to trust you. It's like I say, I'm a married man, have kids, and I go down to the dealership and I buy me a 2-seater Corvette, you know? Is that thinking of the family? Because that's what Oxnard is. It's a family. We're all together. And united, we cannot be defeated. Unidos no los pueden vencer. And that's what I say. United as one family, Oxnard. We can win and make things better for us. And not, like the gentleman was saying, waste money, give money away. That cannot happen. We need to stop that. And one way of doing it is coming together as a community, as a family. Another thing that happens is be the model, ethical, government, right? And keep the community informed. Always keep the community informed. If you need to make a decision or you have something wrong,
your 2 minutes are up. Please, Francine Castagnoli. Thank you very much, Mr. Casanova.
Good evening, Oxnard. Thank you all for coming out and participating in this today. My name is Francine Castañon, and I am your candidate for City Council. I am a lifelong resident of Oxnard. I have a bachelor's degree in public policy and planning. I am wrapping up my master's degree in public administration and finance and heading toward my PhD in public administration. I have a federal and state background, recently coming off the State Board of Equalization, which is a taxing agency. I have community ties. I'm on the Homeless Commission. That's my #1 priority in this city, is addressing our homeless problem. I'm currently working on the county with that. Bringing living wage jobs to our community. No more minimum wage jobs, no more non-union jobs. People need to pay their rent and they need to pay their bills. And it's time we took a stand and brought those good jobs for our residents here. It's time Oxnard got its finances in order and our priorities straight. I'm tired of buying down Channel Islands to go from one side of town to the other, or having to spend 30 minutes commuting just to go get a hamburger at In-N-Out, because that's how long it takes from South Oxnard. Or I can't walk my dog at night because I'll trip because it's so dark in my neighborhood because we can't fix the lights. Enough is enough. It's time for reform, it's time to change, and it's time to get things done. And that's what I'm here to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Francine Castañon. Mr. Al Velasquez, please.
Good evening. Oh, can you hear me? Let me start again. Restart my time, please. Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name. Okay. Then reset the time, please. Okay. Okay. For the third time, let's try it again. Good evening, everyone. My name is Al Velasquez. I am a lifelong resident of the city of Oxnard. I am running for city council for the following reasons. Growing up in Oxnard, I remember Oxnard being a safe, clean, tranquil, and prosperous community. It is no longer that way today. Today, under the present leadership, the city of Oxnard has been hemorrhaging financially for years due to the bad decisions and policies made by the present leadership, which has had a negative impact on every department throughout the city of Oxnard. On May 8, 2018, you, the voters of the city of Oxnard, will have an opportunity to vote for change. You can vote for change of leadership who will be more responsive and respectful of the residents' needs and wishes, and who will restore Oxnard to what it was once. Or you can vote to continue with the same past practice of foolish, wasteful spending of Oxnard tax dollars money to sue the residents of Oxnard for exercising their constitutional rights when they approve and pass a wastewater rate measure M initiative, and to continue paying millions of dollars to consultants and law firms with little to show for the dollars spent for their services. What, I have 30 seconds more? So all in all, that's the main reason why I'm running. I have served in the neighborhood council, the INCF, the also
Testing.
okay. Okay.
Testing.
So again, I got 20 seconds. So over the years, I've served in numerous ad hoc committees, oral panels, full board ad hoc committees for bond change committees, bond committees. So as I mentioned, I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Oxnard, and I got involved 20 years ago with issues in the city because they needed to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Al Velasquez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear from Carrie Kreider.
Buenas noches, Oxnard. Oh, I can't hear you. Buenas noches, Oxnard. Buenas noches. Gracias. Welcome. Thank you, Corner Pockets Billiards, for having us here and hosting this today. We're so grateful for this event. My name is Carrie Kreider. I have lived here in Oxnard for almost 22 years. I've raised my family here. I have 2 children and 2 foster children. And they've all gone to Oxnard schools and graduated here. And it's a great place to live. I specialize in small business management and helping small businesses to grow and thrive. I have my specialty within that is customer service and client relations. And currently I'm a property manager and consultant. I'm running for city council because I believe that this beautiful, diverse city that I love has been grossly mismanaged and neglected. You know it's true. You walk down the streets and you see potholes in the sidewalks and in the streets, and you, like Francine said, you have to 4x4 just to get anywhere. The current city council has completely ignored the vote of the people, which makes me angry, frankly. They've ignored us. They seem to have forgotten that we hired them. We put them there. They've forgotten that we're the ones that they're supposed to be serving. And whether you agree with Measure M or not, the majority of the people voted for it. And the city council should have complied. That's their job. They should have thought of a better way to handle the problem, but they didn't. I can be creative. I've got experience with management, and I can get our city team rallied. What this city needs is people with creative management skills, someone who can get the job done and knows how to...
Thank you very much, Miss Carrie Kreider. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move we're going to go into round one, question two now, ladies and gentlemen. And so, I shall ask the second question of round one. The question is, and you can all see it on the monitor behind the candidates. The candidates have a monitor right in front of them that they can see it. We will never have to repeat the question because it's always going to be sitting right in front of them. The question is, what are your views on the recall and rate increases, Measure M, which the city is contesting? Also, other recall drivers such as public safety, business friendliness, infrastructure, budget, and alleged mismanagement. We'll start this time with Ms. Francine Castañón.
What's our time on it?
1.5 minutes, and the time is running.
So my views on the recall is it didn't necessarily have to happen. The council had sufficient opportunity to work with Mr. Starr. At any time, any one of the 5 council members could have made a motion to investigate further the allegations that Mr. Starr was making regarding the sewer plant. They could have dedicated staff time to do some research, and if they didn't find anything, they could have said, Mr. Starr, we don't find anything, you're full of it, take a hike. At no time did they do that. They didn't say, well, let's see how far this goes. They had opportunities to do that, and they did it. And any one of them could have made a motion to the city manager to ask for that. And they didn't, so we didn't have to come to this point. He was willing to work with them, and they were not for various reasons that I don't know. As far as the other driving measures for public safety, that's why I'm running, because our homeless issue needs to be addressed. We need to have equality on all sides of town, north, south, east, west. We need to make sure that public safety is given equally across the board and that all parts of our cities receive services.
Thank you very much, Ms. Francine Castañón. And now I'm going to ask Mr. Al Velasquez to answer this question.
That's a pretty good loaded question. You got 5 questions in one. Let me start with Measure M. As was stated, Measure M, people voted for it. And the reason for even Measure M even coming to fruition was the simple fact that the rates, the rate increases that the public was subjected to were based or not based on the actual true cost of study, cost of service study. So that's one of the main driving forces why people were upset and why Mr. Starr contested it. They wanted to raise our wastewater rates without any justifiable reason and documentation to establish that those were the actual rates that were needed. So consequently, Mr. Starr came up with Measure M, and I voted for it, and so did 17,000 people voted for it. They were opposed to it for the simple reason it was not the rates that were proposed and imposed better yet, or really not ever demonstrated that that was indeed a rate increase that was needed. As far as public safety, I take a different angle on that. Public safety, you're referring to policing, officers on the streets. See, well, first of all, Measure M doesn't affect public safety. See, public safety comes from the general fund. That's where they get their support. And they also come from Measure O funding. Oh, I'm sorry. Give me.
Well, let's talk about mismanagement. So, recall. All right, we've got this recall because the council went against the people's vote. That's the reason for the recall. And the question might be raised, why now? Why not just wait till the next election? Well, the problem is that there's so much mismanagement. The council complains about that we don't have enough money for this and for that, but they don't hesitate to spend over $500,000 to sue one of our citizens because of Measure M. They don't, right? And they constantly are authorizing expenditures that aren't important or aren't necessary. They're wasteful. Instead of spending the money on the things that we need to have done, like getting our wastewater system fixed, and spending money on the roads that they should have done 4 or 5 years ago, instead of waiting till just before the election, a recall election, to get it done. So mismanagement and an act of uncaring. We all know that our infrastructure is crumbling. We need to get it fixed. We need to get it fixed now. We need someone who's going to do it right now, not wait for 5 years, not wait for 10 years, and then blame it on someone else. We need someone to do it right now.
Yes, first thing is the recall on the rate increase. I believe that if the people spoke and they said, no, we don't want an increase, then it's the responsibility of us, or the council people, to find other solutions. And we don't know the whole story behind it, so we cannot judge anybody at this time or anything. But we do not go around the people. If they say no, then they need to come up with solutions and say, hey, what can we do to keep from raising the increase? And also for public safety, we have a high crime here. Why don't we concentrate on some of the high crime that's going on in the city that we need to fix and make our people safe, and also the roads like were stated before. Our businesses, we need to bring businesses in, not chase them out. We need to bring them so the infrastructure and also the budget and all that will increase. That's the only way we can do it. Bring businesses in, make it work, and work together.
Thank you very much. On the issue of the recall, I'm being recalled for voting to increase the sewer rates. I'm not being recalled for going against 70-some% of the voters that passed Measure M. I'm being recalled for voting to raise the sewer rates. And why did we vote to raise the sewer rates? We voted to raise the sewer rates because the covenants of the bond for the sewer department, the wastewater, was in default 7 consecutive years. Nobody told you that. Nobody told the council that. Nobody. The issue with the sewer rates having to be raised, it's because when I flush the toilet, I expect it to go somewhere, and I expect it to be taken care of. Health, safety, and welfare is more than a simple phrase. If you don't have people that give a damn about what goes down at the beach, and you have kids that go to the beach, and the city of Oxnard has health issues at the beach, you ever ask yourselves why? Some of you have kids. Some of you go to the beach. Some of you must ask the question. Did you ever get an answer? I didn't. When I found out that the bonds were in default, but we never got called on it. We have some very sharp people in the city that have come up with answers with respect to it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. We have some very sharp people who say that the bonds won't be recalled. Well, when the bonds were default, then the water department, now the general fund, we have a Measure M trial. If the Measure M trial goes south...
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But you want to rebut that? 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, first of all, the public has to remember that the issue with the wastewater plant and all the problems we have with it, that just didn't happen overnight. That happened over 5, 8, 10 years ago. And you have to look at some of the people who are being recalled tonight. They've been elected officials for 7.5 years, 8 years, and 11 years. That's our record. Well, where were they all this time in trying to make the corrections and adjustments? That's my question. I asked them all. Where were they?
Thank you very much. Francine?
So my question is, 3 years ago, I asked for the bond company to come before council and was dismissed. 2 years ago, I I asked for the bond company in public comments to come before council. And again, none of them asked or made a motion to have the bond company come so we can hear it straight from the horse's mouth where we stood. We heard it from consultants, we heard it from a city manager who's no longer with us, we heard it from staff, but we never heard it from the bank. And as far as the sewer, yes, no one's in disagreement that it needs repair.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Just turn it.
So first of all, Mr. Perillo, it is your job to know what's going on within the city management and to find these things out. This has been a problem for many years. And the other thing is that the rate, the initial rate, that we did our research and found that we didn't need a 75% rate increase for the bonds not to be called. We could have done a lower rate increase and been fine with that, in which the people would have been fine with a lower rate increase.
Thank you very much. Mr. Barrow, 30 seconds.
With respect to the comments you just made, I'll ask you one question. We have an individual that leads a recall effort, highly paid, highly skilled accountant consultant. The difference between the number 4 and the number 5 is 1. When that individual can't recall all 5 that voted for that, I would question his ability to have the numbers accurate. And I want to take it.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow. Question 3, or round 3? Oh, there you go. On the house. Okay, here we go. How will you provide leadership to our city, especially to the council, the city staff, our business community, our property owners, and the constituents? Start with Ms. D'Ambrosio.
One of the ways we can do that is by being honest and transparent. We cannot hide, we cannot give them surprises and all of a sudden, the raise stir up or whatever the reason may be. We have to be honest with the people. That's the only way we can do it, to make it, provide leadership. And lead by example. You have to lead by example. There's no other way to do this. So, especially for the city staff and business communities, that's the way to do it. And it says, united, all together, they'll never defeat us.
Thank you very much. Sorry. Francine?
So providing leadership is leading by example, showing whoever our future city manager will be, and showing our department heads how to cultivate and develop staff. We need to lead by showing them, not by telling them. And that's a culture that has to change in this city. We need to encourage and develop our city staff because we have enormous talent and we don't develop it. We abuse it and toss it to the side. And they go to other cities and flourish. As far as our business community, let them do business.
Thank you. Paul?
Well, first of all, you have to demonstrate, number 1, you as a councilman, that you understand the issues. And evidently what we have presently, they have a lot of questions, but they don't have solutions. So that's one of the things that you need to do. You have to really have a clear understanding what the issues are, and more important, to have remedies and solutions to the issues. That's number 1. And number 2, you really have to hire well-qualified employees and hold them accountable.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary? Is it working? Let me switch you this one.
All right, well, it's a good thing I'm a leader because they need me. So the important thing is that the city needs a leader who will get in there and be able to lead the city team, which is our city management team. And let the city manager know that he works for us. And let the city attorney know. He works for us. They're our counselors. They're the ones that help. The attorney counsels us and gives us information that we need to govern by. And as far as the businesses go, we need to get more businesses in our city. More businesses will mean more money to do more projects and more infrastructure.
Thank you. Mr. Pearl.
For those that aren't aware of it, the city council hires two individuals, the city attorney and the city manager. We don't hire anybody else. We don't tell anybody else how to get hired. City attorney, city manager. You hold the city attorney and the city manager accountable. But for those that don't understand this also, it's a 5-member council. It's going to be 7. It takes 3 to get anything done. If any of you have followed what goes on in the city of Oxnard, I've been on the losing side of votes. With the issues that come with respect to business, we need to find out why and fix why fees were not raised over decades. You wonder about sidewalks, you wonder about streets. When businesses pay their fair share, everybody profits.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. That was a very good round, and our next question is quite relevant indeed. This is question number 4. We are again in the process of hiring a new city manager. What should hiring criteria, contract, and standards of performance be? May we start with Ms. Francine Castañón.
Hello? So for hiring a city manager, what we should do is, 1, we should see their track record. Assistant city manager before, what city are they coming from, what have they done in that city, what has it gone through, and the other thing is, how have they developed their staff? How well do they work with council, and what's their educational background? Once they have a proven track record, then we should interview them and go through the hiring process just like we would any other city manager. We should have a firm that has a track record of hiring professional city managers. There are some great firms out there. One of them just put a deputy city manager in Santa Monica. And we should be looking at those firms to bring talent to Oxnard.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Velasquez.
Thank you. Well, one of the main things that you need to look at the city manager is his past experience. But I don't mean experience in out of state, Tennessee, Virginia, Florida. I mean in California. You need to hire a city manager who knows California law, government law, and one of the main things that I would look for, he would definitely have to have credentials, certain credentials in accounting, some knowledge of accounting, and in financing. Because the city is based on finances and accounting. That's basically it. The city of Oxnard is a business. So you really need to understand how to run the business. So those are one of the criteria I would add look for, and his past experience and through his resume. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I also believe, again, with the city manager is the education. I'm all into education. The hiring criteria, the contract, how has he worked, what is his background, how has he worked with the people, has he performed well, what are his performance, and the standards also, what are the standards, the high standards that need to be held, and also the performance that he's had. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Round 5. Nobel?
Okay, so for city manager, of course we want a great resume. We want someone with skill and talent and experience. But I want to talk to the person. I want to have a great interview with our future city manager. Someone who has heart, who has soul, who is honest and will work with our city, who will develop a love for our city and want to make it the best city possible. Someone who can rally their team and get them to perform and do the jobs that we need them to do within the city. Someone who has great set of systems, like a business, a system to rally their team and get them to function and perform, and with those kinds of standards. That's who we need for our city.
Thank you very much. Sorry about you.
The city manager. The hiring of the city manager is extremely serious business. But one thing that I think all people need to realize, you don't have to hire a city manager to be a city manager. Somebody started somewhere. Common sense is a big deal. And one thing that everyone talks about, they want honesty. I learned a heck of a lesson with the city manager that just left us. You can't tell when you talk to an individual, if they're honest. I don't see that we should exclude local people. There was a comment about having somebody with local knowledge. I don't see there should be an exclusion of that. But being able to work with somebody and finding that they had a track record and they accomplished something is a big deal. But common sense, in my book, counts for a lot. Sometimes we don't have very much common sense.
Thank you, Mr. Perella. I'd like to ask a question as a follow-up to this, and that would be, and I'd like to ask Mr. Perella this question. You mentioned someone from within, and I believe we have an excellent candidate. A lot of people have mentioned to me that our police chief is an excellent candidate. I'm sure there's somebody here in the city of Oxnard that might qualify and have that heart that Ms. Kreider is talking about. Is that something that exists?
What is your question?
The question is, do we have someone in the city of Oxnard that would be capable of running our city?
I believe that there are multiple people within the city of Oxnard, some in city government and some outside of city government that are well qualified to run the city. And one advantage of having somebody like that, it wouldn't take them a year and a half to figure out which end of Oxnard is which end.
Mr. Velasquez.
Well, first of all, I think we have a candidate in Oxnard already. He's more than qualified. He has credentials, he has degrees, he has been the interim city manager in the past. Mr. Perella mentioned common sense. Well, not necessarily. I still hold true to the fact that you need to have credentials in accounting and financing. And if you look at the expenditure the city paid for consultants that were hired when we had our past city manager, it's outrageous.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Velasquez. Anybody else want to comment? Thank you. We go to Mr. Arriola.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Round 5. To the incumbent, please share some of your most positive and important accomplishment in office. I'll let you answer the first one.
I get credit for the most important accomplishment was the whistleblower policy. The whistleblower policy is something that will allow employees in the city to basically drop a dime and be protected. The city employees are not protected. Individually, one came to me with a problem and he was basically fired. I ended up having to spend $5,000 to get an attorney for this individual to be protected. It's a disgusting situation, protecting an individual who was telling the truth. And then there are no ramifications to the individuals who were caught lying. In county court, superior court, nothing happens. But I don't take a lot of pleasure in that. Some of the other things that I lost on, we're trying to get, as we mentioned earlier, a city manager. I want a city manager that has a contract that he cannot do what former city managers did.
To the challengers, please share some of your most positive and important accomplishment that qualifies you for consideration from the voters.
I'd have to say my time with the state, we got a significant number of veterans a refund through the state that they were entitled to. The state was not allowed to charge them certain taxes. And a gentleman named Bill O'Connell from Santa Barbara fought that bill. I got to know him and fought with him. And we got about $500,000 refunded to individuals who were due that refund. These were veterans who were kind of nomadic, that had jobs like hot dog carts, car washes, things like that, who were wrongly taxed and should not have been. And it's doing those kinds of things every day and making sure people get the right place.
Appreciate it. Mr. Velasquez.
Well,
For those of you that know a little bit about me, you've seen me almost weekly or semi-weekly at city council meetings addressing issues and concerns that affect me and the residents of this community. One of them is wasteful spending. Just to start with, neighborhood issues, developments, projects in the neighborhoods and cities that the residents don't want. I have gone before the city council in support of the residents, even when they appeal decisions that were made with the city council. And Mr. Perillo just 2 weeks ago approved a project in the neighborhood council that the people paid $781 to an appeal process because they didn't want the project in their neighborhood. The city unanimously voted against the residents. Thank you.
Sorry, no. Thank you. Mr. Ambrosi.
Yes, one of the things that, like I said, I'm new, coming out of the military. I've served my country for over 42 years, and also with the done a lot for the community. I've also worked with Kern Elementary. We've given them computers. We have worked with Boys and Girls Club. We've given them furniture. We've done a lot for the community. That's one of my things. That's why I love my community, and I want to be part of Oxnard. And I want to show you what I can do, and the only way I can do that is to be elected.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so my greatest accomplishment will have to be really in my family, with my children. And how does this correlate to government? Well, because I'm a tough mom, and I'm an experienced mom, and I have a backbone. And I know how to say no, and I know how to say yes. But mostly, I know when to draw the line. And I'll agree with Mr. Perillo, we do need someone with, I believe he said common sense, and I have loads of common sense. And every board that I've ever worked on, which have been a few, I will tell you, the thing that I did most was always put the concerns of the people that I served first, and that's what I'll do.
Thank you very much. That's the first question.
All right, we're going to the next round. Woo! Yes, indeed. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this next question concerns our beautiful harbor, the Channel Islands Harbor, which, by the way, the mayor and other council members have called the gem of Oxnard, but many have said that it has been mismanaged by the county, which has jurisdiction, even though it is in Oxnard. What can or should Oxnard do about that?
I serve as one half of the council, the committee that serves on the Channel Islands Beach Task Force. This particular issue is in a long drawn out. It's a contract with the county and the city of Oxnard. The contract has been expired. The county wants to, in my opinion, wants to play chicken with the city of Oxnard. The city of Oxnard over the past several years has played weak sister, and the city of Oxnard is getting taken advantage of. There's a possibility that the contract will be extended for a number of years. There's a phrase, not a popular phrase, it may not be politically correct, but the phrase is, the closer you are to the hangman's noose, the more it focuses your attention. We do approve an extension of the contract. Make it short term.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
If you don't mind, Mr. Avril, I'd like to allow Mr. Perillo to finish that thought.
The push was for a 5-year contract, not for a 2-year contract at the very maximum. The county takes advantage of the city. One of the problems with a 5-year contract, a councilman is elected for 4 years. A councilman can hide under doing nothing over a 4-year period and still get away with it because it's a 5-year contract. The same goes for the Board of Supervisors. It's time to put up or shut up at the county, at the Channel Islands Harbor Beach Task Force. Oxnard has been screwed.
Thank you very much. Mr. Casanova.
On this issue, we have to get all the facts together and also put them up front, find out what we need to do as part of the council members and make up the best decision possible. That's all we can do, is get it together. I mean, we got to put them on the fire, you know, from the frying pan to the fire. and let's get this done right.
So it was at one time a beautiful place to go, and now it's barely standing. The first thing that nobody has done, which has surprised me, is see how the Bard family deeded the property. That was the original property of the Bard family. So what are the terms and conditions that they left that property to the city and the county? As far as the contract, I agree with Councilman Perlow. It should not be more than 2 years. Until we can find a design that can go in there, not with 400 units, that's just too much. But it has to be something that can be sustainable, withstand itself, because it'll be there for at least another 50 years, whatever goes in there. So we have to make sure that it can be affordable, it can sustain with our water sewer system.
Thank you.
This is very simple. First of all, you have to understand that the contract expired in 2013, 5 years ago. Simply put, the county owns that. Presently, the city is spending probably millions of dollars in subsidizing that harbor for public service, police, fire, wastewater, etc. My simple solution to that, I've said it publicly at the city council on 2 occasions. I'm a contract negotiator. I spent 29 years with the teachers union. I understand once a binding contract expires, everything on that agreement is non-binding. Simply put, what I said to the city council, let the county take it, let them provide the services, or have the city bill the county for the services provided or rendered on the monthly basis. We cannot continue subsidizing the harbor, but we get nothing in return.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm in agreement here. I think we're all pretty much in agreement that it's really a problem, that area. And the thing is, though, is that the county has the money. They've got people that are willing to do something, so we just need to negotiate the deal and get it done. And I agree with what Francine said. 400 units is too much. It's just too, that area can't sustain that. But we can entice and court other builders to see if they're willing to do something that would be, smaller, not quite as big, that will be within our boundaries with what we're willing to do in the city of Oxnard, and then negotiate that with the county.
Thank you very much. You got them all? Thank you. It's question 7. Oxnard, like many other fine cities in California, have a homeless problem. To the incumbent, the question, what have you done to fix it?
The homeless issue is not just a city of Oxnard issue. And as an incumbent on this council, the incumbent, the elected body member on this board, I'm sitting here telling you the city of Oxnard supported the police department, supported our legal action to remove them from the Halifax site. The issue with homelessness, providing services, and everything else that would go with it, we need to make a decision, and we have. Which is the highest priority? Let people live on an environmental dangerous site, or remove them from the site? I haven't seen any neighborhoods ask for a homeless encampment in their neighborhood. There has been issues with respect to that I've brought up to the council. There are other cities that have taken positive steps to do that. It takes 3 votes to get something done on the council. It's the best answer that I can get you. It's also a truthful answer.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Same, the challenge.
For the homeless issue, when the last meeting we were in, they were building homes for like Section 8, I believe, that they were having some of the homeless move in. We do need to make more homes for these folks and also have more medical available for them to help them stay off the street or drugs or whatever there is. We don't know. But we need to work together as a family, as Oxnard, to find a place for them or find homes for them so they can be and get out of the danger and into a safety environment.
Thank you.
So the homeless is a problem in our city, and the solution is getting it matrix, figuring out what are we spending our money on, what is effective, and what's not working that we're spending our money on. Number two, can anyone define homeless? No, not because we can't. If you look at the Department of HUD, homelessness is someone living on the sidewalk in a cardboard box. If you live in a dumpster, you're housed, according to them. If you live in a car, you're housed. If you live in a garage, you're housed. If you ask the county, they have a different definition. If you ask the city, it's a different definition. So we have to prioritize and work with our partners, first and foremost, on what we've got as resources. Number two, we need to increase our ability and access to mental health. In the county of Ventura, you only have a 72-hour check-in if it's court ordered. So if you lose your mind, there's nowhere for you to go.
First of all, you have two problems with this in regards to homeless. Number one, you have homeless on the streets. Number two, we have mothers with children that need housing. Well, number one, I recommend that the city established a temporary tent city after they kicked out the poor homeless people up there from the homeless, from Halico. Consequently, you see them all over town. And we need to have some kind of a tent city where they can go to. Number two, as far as homeless parent, a single parent with family, we have we need to partnership with developers or agencies to build homes, in addition to make sure we have sufficient funds and usage of the in lieu fees that the city collects from developers. I don't know. Thank you.
Well, I was a mom, a foster mom to a homeless boy, and it is a serious problem. It not only affects their psyche, it affects their mental ability to mature, and it's really a problem, especially for children. So what I would like to do is get people involved that are experts in this area. Non-profit organizations that specialize in working with homeless people I think that we can take our funds and give them stipends or give them a grant so that they can do what they do best, and that's take care of the homeless people that we have in our city. And we do have too many, and it is a statewide problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, candidates. We're going to number 8. We have an annual budget of $414,000 with very little discretionary funds in the general fund of about $125,000 total. What do you think your budget priorities should be, and how would you spend the $6 million from the Downtown Settlement Fund? Now let's start with Mr. Perrello.
I got a question that I'm really loaded for on this one. Number one, you're sitting in the downtown right now tonight. But when we have the downtown organizations cannot agree on how they want to spend the $6 million, I find it very difficult to come up with a proposal that would satisfy them. When there's fighting and bickering among the troops that are representing downtown, property owners downtown, and they can't come together, what do you think I should impose on them? The $6 million is not going to last forever. The city of Oxnard, with the business down here, are continually nibbling at that like a wheel of cheese. You're taking a little bit to trim the trees, a little bit to fix that. Those are city of Oxnard obligations. And the $6 million...
Thank you very much, Bert. Sorry.
On this, on the $6 million, how can we use that for funds? That's one of the questions. Can we, for funds to fix the repair the roads, repair other items, can we come together for that? How, there's got to be something that we can work together as a team to make a solution, like he stated. Something has to be done. And we can't just be nipping at it every now and then. We have to stop that, and we have to come up with a decision of what can we use this money for, and what can we help, or who can we help with this money. Something has to be done, right?
As far as the $6 million, I'd have to see what the judge said they could use it for. What specifically were the written criteria associated with that funds? He didn't just say, here you go, have a nice day. there were strings attached. So we need to look at those strings and prioritize from there. As far as the $400 million, I'd like to know how they're spending that $400 million, because there's no coding with the spending. They can just send those checks out. And I know a portion of it goes to fire and police, which is very necessary, but how they're spending the rest, that's the mystery to all of us.
Well, let me start with a $6 million settlement for the downtown funding. First of all, it's been almost a year, but the present leadership still hasn't figured out what to do, how to spend that money. I mean, it's unreal. Why? Why haven't they figured out how to spend the money? First of all, you have to ask the downtowners. I'm going to ask the downtowners, what do you need? What is needed? What do you honestly feel is needed to stimulate downtown and get businesses down here? They haven't done that. And you have to ask yourself why. As far as the $400 million, well, you know, that's a lot of money that is divided into a number of categories. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I have a passion for the downtown and helping them get the things that they need. And to me, it's really simple. You've got to figure out what we can spend it on and what they're allowed to spend it on. And that's going to be determined by the city council. What can it be spent on? Spending it on tree trimming and infrastructure is not what that $6 million is for. It's for revitalizing the downtown area. And so I would come up with once we determine what that can be spent on, come up with a simple application process whereby the owners or the business owners could apply to receive funds to make the repairs or beautification that they want to make to their business. And show that it adds to the city, and then it will be given to them.
Thank you, Karen.
It's my turn. Thank you. Question 9. Do you support allowing the growth and sale of marijuana in the city of Oxnard?
Right, that we do.
What?
Marijuana.
No! So as far as marijuana, the state has already said yes, Prop 64. Now, as far as selling of marijuana in the sense of a dispensary, Port Hueneme kind of has the market on that. Now, what a lot of people don't realize in the cannabis market, because the BOE has spent extensive time on this one, is that there's growers, cultivators, clippers, manufacturers, and distributors. There's a whole other industry of that market that has nothing to do as far as the consumption of it. They pay living wage jobs, they are great community partners, and they bring a lot of tax revenue to the city. So would I support a distribution, a grower, or a manufacturer? Of course. They're already allowing deliveries in the city, and that's a tax revenue that they're finally catching up on here in the city of Oxnard. So that's already gone forward. As far as the dispensaries, no, not at this time.
Thank you. Al?
No, absolutely not. That's something I could never support. Never. I think the city of Oxnard and the state, for that matter, has enough social problems already with the drugs and alcohol and what have you. So, to give an example, they use an excuse of medicinal. My wife is on the back. We've been married going on 54 years, Betty. She has had 2 bouts of cancer over the last 15, 16 years. And not once did she ever come to me, honey, can you give me some marijuana, medical medicinal, to kill the pain? It's insane. I don't know who or how or approve this, but in a nutshell, no, it's something that I never appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah, Gary.
Well, truthfully, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I personally don't believe. I teach my children not to smoke marijuana. I don't believe in it. I don't know. I think there's other medicinal, there's other medicines that can combat the same issues that marijuana can. However, the state has said that it's legal, and I think that if we, are smart about it, it could be a good revenue source for our city. So I think it would have to be. I do support medicinal use. But I think we have to be smart about it. And where is it going to be located, and how is it going to be observed, watched, controlled, overseen?
Thank you. Let me finish with Mr. Pearl.
Was the first councilman to support the distribution of medical marijuana in the city of Oxnard. The reason being, I do have experience with people that have needed something, and people are paying attention to the news to hear what the opioid crisis is doing. I'd rather have somebody use that, medical marijuana, than some of the other things that are out. One of the pitches that's going on in Oxnard now is the manufacture, the growth, and the distribution of the marijuana. There are pitches that come to the city. I'm not in favor of the recreational use of marijuana, but I don't have any say in that. The voters of California made a decision on that. The recreational sale of the city, the recreational sale in the city of Oxnard is something that the city council can weigh in.
Finish it off.
Is something that the city council can weigh in. I'm not in favor of that. I'm in favor of the manufacture and production.
Mr. Ambrosio.
Yes. I'm in favor of the sale, but it has to be regulated, and that's more money for the city of Oxnard that we can use on other issues that we have, on the homeless issue, on roads, on items like that. But it has to be controlled, and I'm for that. But again, if it's not controlled, we will lose it. We will lose control of it. And we have to make sure that there's enough charge for it to put the business up. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, you had a rebuttal? 30 seconds.
Yeah, real simply, as for a lot of you don't know, Los Angeles has denied all dispensaries because of the decreasing conditions and problems across the city. Another thing that hasn't been done, that I've heard of and read, has there been a study as to what is the cost to the city in public services, police, arrest, jailing, and incarcerating people versus the benefit of the revenue that's being generated from the sale of marijuana. So again,
thank you very, very much, Mr. Velasquez. You rebutting, Francine?
Yeah.
Go for it.
So at any time, if you want to tour these facilities, see how they run and operate just like any other business, I will happily set one up for you. They love to open their doors and show you how they do business. The state has a cannabis bureau that you are welcome to go to their website, see what the state regulations are, what the rules are, licensing requirements. The reason they are so strict with these rules is to ensure that those that don't want to play the game, pay taxes, get a business license, and get a state license, are out of business. Oh, and they're unionized. There are 3 different unions that represent the cannabis industry right now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a federal
Thank you very much, Francine. Ladies and gentlemen, we have round 10 coming up. Our last and final round, ladies and gentlemen. The question is the effects of crime and residents' right to public safety is important. How would you improve it? And let's start with Mr. Perello.
The residents and the issue of crime affecting them, we had another murder. It's in the newspaper. They were able to arrest the individual they believe is the perpetrator. The city of Oxnard has received awards for the quality of work the police department is doing. I'm proud to say that I live in a city with the police department and the leadership of our police department. No organization has a perfect record. There have been mistakes, big ones. But our police department and what it does for us is tremendous. But recently, with respect to crime, there was a sanctuary safe vote. And one of the things that I pushed for was, if we're going to have sanctuary for some, I would much rather have safety for all. The money and the false statement about sanctuary for the city of Oxnard and what it does when we try to have protection for everyone in the city of Oxnard, legal or illegal. If you live in the city of Oxnard, you're...
We'll give you a minute.
Thank you very much. Mr. Casanova.
Yes, on the crime, residents, there is high crime. We need to improve our police department, give them some more personnel and better resources that they need so they can also be out there and fight this crime and able to help. And also we need to come together as a community and report anything that we see wrong and the individuals that are committing crime. We need to come together as a community again and help the police department with the finances that we can do. What can we do to help them, to help us?
Thank you, Ms. Castañón.
So crime in our city has been going up, and our police are having to do more with less, and that's unacceptable. They have had to fight for every crumb, not cookie, crumb that they have. It was embarrassing, the pictures all over social media, the broken cars everywhere. How am I, a tax-paying resident, supposed to get services when this is going on, when they can't get their car fixed? That's how we're going to improve public safety. Make sure our officers' training, material, and everything they need to be the best they can be out there is done. Why are we questioning and challenging? Well, why do you need a new car? Why are we putting more tires on it? Why do we need this much vest? I don't know, because it hurts when you get shot through a vest. I've had that opportunity when I was in the Army. It hurts like hell, and I'm not going to nickel and dime it either for our officers. They're on the front lines. They take a bullet for me or anyone in this audience. Don't you forget that.
Mr. Velasquez.
Well, first of all, do I have a minute? Do I have a minute? Okay. First of all, you have to look at the CAFR's consolidated annual financial report for the city. I think you'll notice that this police department really hasn't had a good increase in the funding for the department. But I would give appropriate more funding for the police department to hire more entry-level patrol officers. The funding would come from the measurable fund. That's what the measurable fund was originally established for to enhance services. The thing I would do was I would provide more funding to have more youth programs to keep kids off the street from creating crimes. Another thing that's food for thought is to have a volunteer patrol officers to assist the police department in patrolling our streets and make their presence more visible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Krager.
The first thing I think we should do is get our police chief back on the job full time. I think his attentions are a little divided right now. And I do agree that we need to increase our funding for our police. They shouldn't have to do without. They should have the things that they need. We need to stop investing in things that, like state-of-the-art fire stations that we don't even own. I'm all for a state-of-the-art fire station, but we need to invest in things that we can control. And we need to invest it in our guys and our men that are going to protect us. I also think that we need to rally our citizens to have more neighborhood watches and some that could be trained to not solve the problems themselves, but we all have cell phones with cameras on it that they can take pictures and show, turn that into the police, and here's some nefarious things that's happening, and I think between the community and our police force and hiring more patrol officers, we'll get the job done.
Thank you very much. I appreciate is it your turn, Mr. Casanova? I think Mr. Perello started, so I think we're good. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being here. How about a big round of applause for the wonderful candidates and the incumbent that is here representing the city. Closing statement. I jumped the gun. Applause. Thank you. Oh, yeah. How did I jump the gun? Question number... Thank you.
Very beginning, you said it was a minute-and-a-half opening statement. Then you said 2-minute closing statement. Which is the closing?
No, the opening statement was 2 minutes. It's a minute-and-a-half closing statement. Thank you very much. And we'll start with you, Mr. Perello.
Okay. First off, thank you very much. Thank you for the moderators, Mr. Ortiz and Mr. Ariola, for helping out here. Thanks for the rest of the individuals that took the time to get involved. Ladies and gentlemen, it takes a lot to get involved. Put your name in and get involved. But I'd like to state this right up front. Recall elections are to remove corrupt officials. Corrupt officials. I am a responsible one. I am a responsible representative. I am a true fighter for the people in the city of Oxnard. I got involved as a youth by going to things that my father was involved in, Eugene. He was involved in United Water Conservation, and I learned a lot of things. But one of the things that I learned from my dad, a lot of people don't like to admit it, and I was one of them. I learned from my dad, health, safety, and welfare is a big deal. And I also learned a very big lesson. If you don't have people that will stand up for something, nobody will stand up for anything. You have to be willing to put your neck on the line. As an elected official, I believe I am required to work and fight hard for the public good, representing faithfully those that voted for me and those that didn't vote for me. I will continue to do my best to fight for the public health, safety, and welfare of this over 200,000 residents in Oxnard, rich or poor, living in all 50 neighborhoods, north, south, east, or west. By casting a tough but necessary vote to raise sewer utility rates, I help stop the bleeding in the city's wastewater enterprise fund, help rebuild depleted utility reserves, and ultimately help to stabilize the city's credit rating, thereby saving.
I want to thank everybody for being here and listening to us. I know sometimes it might get a little boring or not. I hope not. Okay? But we're here for you. Again, I wish when you go out there and you think about Casanova for the vote, not anything else. I've also been a leader for many years with the military. I've been 3 combat tours, and I've been leading the way in every sense of the word. And I want to be the leader here and lead with honesty for you. I also have a master's in business administration and my master's and bachelor's, and I'm trying to get my doctorate done. So I'm here for you, and work with you. So thank you very much. Again, thank you everybody for coming. I appreciate it. And I hope you all.
So as many of you know, I'm a bit of a rabble-rouser. I'm not afraid to fight. I'm not afraid to stand up, and I'm certainly not afraid to speak my mind. And there hasn't been a person in here that I haven't said no to help. When they've called me, asked me for assistance, when nobody wanted to stand with me to take on Walmart because they wanted to allow open container at Walmart in South Oxnard, and nobody cared. I took them head on and won. When the car decided to drive through the family apartment next to Elm Street School, and the poor family is devastated, critical lives are at risk with those children, and the mother couldn't get help because each of her kids were in a hospital across Southern California. Believe me, I fought and knocked on every county supervisor's door, calling them at 2:30 in the morning, telling them to get their butt up and get to work. I'm not afraid to do it, and I'm not afraid to knock on the doors and get it done. And that's something I'm going to bring to Oxnard.
Thank you so much. I'd like to remind all of you as to why we're here. This is a recall. Okay, the people signed a petition for the recall. They're not happy with what we have. And I would say if elected, I will oppose and vote to freeze any future rate increases for the water, wastewater, and refuge for 1 or 2 years, or until the city has a new, completed, true, and accurate cost of service rate study to determine what the actual needed rate increases really are. If elected, I will not support the issuance of future bonds without documents and study analysis demonstrating that there is sufficient evidence that the needed revenues and cash reserves are generated to meet the required bond obligations. If elected, I will immediately mandate and pursue that an audit for all the motels throughout the city of Oxnard be done for the transit occupancy tax, also known as the TOT, to recover all overdue taxes owed to the city of Oxnard. The audit shall be conducted by an independent auditor. I have a lot more to say, but I'll close by saying that I respectfully ask for your support and vote on May 1st, 2018, so that I can become your next council member. I've been, as I mentioned earlier, I've been up here before the city council trying to represent and support the residents of the community for what they desire, what they want in this city, what will make and improve the quality of life in this city. So thank you so much.
Well, as a council member, hard for you. I will not stop until the things that we need to get taken care of are taken care of. I will not allow the rest of the council to sit by and put off another 3, 4, 5 years for things that need to be done today. I will work hard to get it done and get it done now. In addition, when you come to the council or you call me, I will listen to you. When you come to the council, I will not be on my cell phone texting someone. I will actually be looking at you and listening to you. The city council has seemed to have forgotten that the people matter. The people are important. The people want to know they're being heard. And I feel like in this recall election, this is about the people being neglected, the people not being heard, their voice, their vote being ignored. This is the United States of America. The people have a voice and a vote. And I say to you, to all of you, that if someone ignores the vote of the people, if an elected official ignores the vote of the people, that means they are corrupt. That doesn't necessarily mean they're dishonest or they're bad, but it means they're corrupt. It doesn't necessarily mean they're evil, but it means they're wrong. And you should not avoid the vote of the people. There's another way to get it done. I will listen to you and I will get it done, and I'll get it done now.
Thank you very much. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, a very healthy round of applause for our first round candidates. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? How about that? Great round. Excellent. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We're running a little late, so we're going to take a 5-minute break. I would like to call the candidates for the next round. The next debate candidates are Mr. Tim Glynn, the mayor of Oxnard, Miguel Lopez, Robert Sumter, Aaron Starr, Lawrence Stein, and Modesto Mori Navarro. We are going to set them up. In the meantime, if you would like this pamphlet, which is over to the side, has been provided by the city of Oxnard, and will answer any of your questions on this special recall election. Thank you.
Hey candidates, please do not go too far. We're going to do a post-debate interview with you right here. If you won't, please don't go too far. We'll just take a few moments. We're taking a 5-minute break, guys. We're setting up for the next round, and it's going to be even more exciting. I love it. Come on, let's go. All right. Candidates, who wants to go first?
Hello, how do you feel today with the reaction of our community? How do you feel today with the reaction of our community right now?
Mr. Velasquez. Mr. Velasquez, are you here? Are you still in the building? One last call for Mr. Casanova or Mr. Velasquez. I'm looking you up to the page. Mr. Velasquez, please come for an interview. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Mr. Velasquez, please come.
Good job. Thanks.
Mr. Velasquez,
I'm asking us to meet you. How do you feel today with that interview? How do you feel tonight? Once about our community in Oxnard, it's a lot of Latin community. What do you think about that? About our Latin community? Latin community. ¿Cómo está dispuesto a apoyar a la comunidad latina? Muchísimas gracias. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Hey, Pablo, let's get ready to rumble. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to get this started. We're running over time, so Pablo.
Okay, guys. Alright, guys, are we almost ready for the next round?
Okay, everybody have their seats. We're gonna get to the next round. Pablo, can you do us the mics over there? Let's get started. Ladies and gentlemen, please sit down. In courtesy to the candidates, and let's get this forum started because we have one more round after this. Pablo, are you ready?
I am ready, and I believe that ladies and gentlemen, if you'd all just be courteous, we're going to start the second debate of the night that is on our card, if you will, to use boxing parlance, huh? Alrighty. Okay, can I hear the bell one more time? Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, our opening statement, we will be asking each incumbent. And may I have the opening statement? It is up there. Let's see. No, the next slide, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, briefly summarize your background, qualifications, and why you want or should keep the job, and describe your love and passion for the city of Oxnard. in your own words, please. We'll start with Mr. Aaron Starr.
Can we lower the noise level?
Bring it down, ladies and gentlemen, bring it down.
Can we hear the bell? Just a courtesy to the candidates, please lower your noise level to allow them to. Can we please lower the, thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention. Now, let's get started. Mr. Starr.
Hi, my name is Aaron Starr. Many of you already know me and know my wife Alicia. I'm a certified public accountant. I serve as the financial controller for the manufacturing firm with over 1,200 employees. You already know I work. I bring people together to make things happen. And I don't just identify problems, I also work to find solutions. The current council is pretty dysfunctional. They're not leaders, they're a rubber stamp body. We need new vision, people willing to work to address our real problems. Now, I guess many of you are either applauding or criticizing the fact that we're having a recall. I guess this is the reason why we're all here. But let's remember, the council is pushing use of rate increases. I put Measure M on the ballot to repeal the 10% sewer rate increase. And the city sued me personally. We overcame that part, we got on the ballot, except the public voted for Measure M. And then the council defied the public, they refused to negotiate. And again, they adopted replacement abusive rates. And that's why they're being recalled. We only have a few months between May and the next election, but we can accomplish a lot. We can do term limits for council. We can make the city council a volunteer position. We can eliminate the council pay, the benefits, the pensions. I think we can implement permanent simplicity. We can eliminate our business license tax. We can end our infrastructure use fee, which is a scam. And we can change our means to be more productive. We can't fix everything at once, but we're going to hit the ground running. I'm looking forward to serving as your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Modesto Mori Navarro, please.
Good afternoon. My real name is Modesto Navarro. I was nicknamed Maury after Maury Wells when I was a kid in Colonia. I'm a graduate of Our Lady Guadalupe, Santa Clara High School. 42 years in business, I was the owner of Oxnard Towing till about a few years when I sold it. I have 3 daughters. They're all successful and doing great in life. I was also a planning commissioner for the city of Oxnard, a parks commissioner for Ventura County. I sat on the board for HUD, allocating money for people like human concerns and handicapped people and this of the sort. I was a contractor for the city of Oxnard. I worked for the Highway Patrol, ATF, DEA, in the DMV. I had an impound storage yard is what I had. The first thing I would like to see, we are the largest city between San Jose and LA. We spent millions of dollars on the interchange of Highway 101 in Rice and 1 in Rice. It has never been implemented. I would like to see a truck route, a dedicated truck route, and stage the trucks that come in to pick up our produce along 5th Street and not on the boulevard. If we're going to announce that prevention is worth a pound the cure, if we keep these semis off the boulevard, we'll make it traffic and pedestrian friendly for people to come downtown and then invite new businesses to downtown that will complement our existing ones. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Navarro. Mr. Robert Lee Sumter, please.
Hopefully it's on. Opening statement, brief background. I've
got 40 years in the automotive industry. I have ran for mayor 4 previous times. My qualifications are, I believe I'm a strong manager. That's where I spend most of my time. My job that I would do would be to lead. That's what a mayor does. A mayor needs to be the centerpiece of the council. My love and passion for the city of Oxnard. I moved here in 2000 and have lived here now for 18 years. I'm a born and bred Californian, but I'm not a lifelong Oxnardian. But I have enough passion that when I met my wife, my current wife, she has moved here and adopted our country and our city. She is in love with this. She loves the schools. Our stepdaughter, her daughter, is in Oxnard High, so we use the facilities here in Oxnard. There's a lot of things that can be done. What I would like to see is I'd like to see things implemented that we already have on the books. And I also want to bring, and I'm going to cut this short, I want to remind everybody, this council or mayor is only going to be for approximately 20 to 21 weeks, and we will have a new election. So I can't sit here and say, I'm going to pave your streets, I'm going to do away with crime. It's only 21 weeks. Thank you.
And Mr. Miguel Lopez.
Hello. Good evening, how's everybody doing tonight? Really good, nice. I had the opportunity to sit through the last panel. I have to say I really do appreciate not only the passion that's coming through, but the ideas and the robust conversations and discussions that we're having. I really do think we need to have more of that to really coalesce around shared vision and a shared goal to really get through Oxnard's biggest challenges. In terms of my background, I was born and raised here in Oxnard. I've enjoyed all the benefits of living in a safe, strong community. And I'll say that I got to benefit from that. There were definitely challenges throughout my life, but I've been able to nonetheless persist and just have an opportunity that not enough of us here in Oxnard have, and that's what's really driving my campaign. I'll tell you, I attended and completed my undergraduate at UC Santa Barbara, my master's work and my PhD at UCLA in higher education and organizational change, and I also completed a executive education leadership certificate program at the Harvard Kennedy School at Harvard University. And to all of that, what I want to say is, like, we're here because for this recall for many reasons, but first and foremost because of the mayor's failed leadership, to be honest with you. I think that he failed to take this process seriously then, and that's why we're here, and I think people are starting to speculate if he's taking it seriously now. We have many of the same challenges that we debated in 2016, and those remain a priority. Infrastructure, just puttering economic development plan, and obviously the evolving challenges with public safety. That's why we're all here. I benefited from the support of the Laborers International who are here, and I want to thank you all for that support. Earlier this week, I announced the support of Oxnard Police and Fire, our public safety and first responders, and then today, just this afternoon, I was proud to announce the support of the Oxnard Chamber of Commerce and the business community. All of us are invested for different reasons. We all believe we can do better. We all want and expect more, and that's why we're here. I hope to earn your not only vote of confidence, but your support. We have 6 weeks to go until the recall, and with your support, we will certainly be able to begin a new era here in Oxnard. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lopez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to our second question in this second debate. Gentlemen, what are your views on the recall and rate increase / Measure M, which the city is contesting? Also, other recall drivers such as public safety, business friendliness, infrastructure, budget, and alleged mismanagement. And I'd like to start with Mr. Modesto Mori-Navarro.
I had a lady come to me at BG's coffee shop and ask me what am I going to do? She goes, I'm on a fixed income and I can't afford the water bill. What do you answer to somebody like that? Not only that, she's handicapped. So something needs to be done, but I believe the city should look for other ways of finding money from other enterprises that the city has. I found out that the city has 40 million to the better in the enterprise fund at the MRF. Why not borrow from one enterprise fund to fix the other? Why not get rid of the 51 properties that the city of Oxnard owns downtown Oxnard and that are being donated to their private friends? And nobody's paying for it. Every customer downtown, every business owner downtown pays a nickel a square foot. A nickel a square foot for the property inside for property management. That's besides what the city provides in services. You have so many people providing services downtown and nobody knows that the business owners are paying. Imagine if you got a 1,000 square foot building or 2,000 square foot building, a nickel a square foot. That's a lot of money. So how can we bring new businesses when they see that kind of price in there? You can't. I'd like to bring See's Candies back downtown. Don't hire a consultant, hire a property management company that we have plenty of downtown, and to sell those buildings, liquidate the properties. The city of Oxnard does not need to be in the property business.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All right, I'd like to ask Mr. Robert Lee Sumner, and we have 45 seconds on our questions, and we gave you a little extra time there, Mr. Navarro, which is okay. If anyone needs to rebut here, we will give you an additional 30 seconds on the back end. Mr. Sumner.
Yes, on the recall, I'm really not for it, but with the management we had to do something. As for Measure M, I supported that. I signed the initiative and I voted for it. And I think it's really ridiculous that the city is actually contesting it. As far as public safety, I would like to see, and this is said on my website, that I would like to see our police more proactive, not reactive. And what I mean is, when I'm driving down Ventura Road at 8:30 in the morning, and I'm doing 60 miles an hour, people are where the heck are the business? Oh, all done.
Thank you very much, and now Mr. Lopez.
So it's a lot of 5 seconds, but on the recall, I have to say that the mixed feelings that many people have. I do agree that it is a waste, is unnecessary, also happening. The reason I qualify that is that with the June primary election just 34 days later, I think that could have certainly been, pursued as an option, as an alternative, so that it wouldn't have cost us the $480,000 in the first place. Just last week, we debated at the Chamber of Commerce, and Mayor Flynn arrived over an hour late to the event, but there he actually enlightened us all with another piece of information, and that was that this recall is not just only a $500,000 recall election. When all is said and done, it's actually going to be closer to $1 million because of the legal fees that are also accruing, and so that's double wasteful. I believe there's responsibility on both sides, and that's why we're here, and I look forward to discussing some of these other issues in the time we have left.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Starr, would you give us your thoughts?
I think we all know where I stand on the recall. There are other problems in the city too. We've had a 70% increase in crime in 5 years. From 2011 to 2010, that's just completely unacceptable. We chase businesses away, make it very difficult to move here if you want to be a business. We pay an extra half-cent sales tax, and we have the worst roads in the county. It's just a sign of complete, utter management failure. And unfortunately, for Tim Flynn, he is the one that is overseeing it. And for many reasons like that, he just needs to go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Question 3. How will you provide leadership to our city, especially the city council, the city staff, our business community, and your constituents? Robert?
Okay, how would we provide leadership? Well, like I said in the beginning, I have been in management basically my whole life. To the council, the mayor is the leader, and I think he tends to overdo that. And he needs to be, well, I can't say what I want to say because, anyway, we need to do something with our business community. The city staff, that's one thing I want to learn. Who the hell is staff? And I'm out of time.
Yes, you are. Thank you very much. And let's ask Mr. Navarro to thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Lopez? How will you provide leadership to the city, especially the council, the city staff, our business community, and the constituents?
Certainly. I think if you look at my previous experience, my present success, and certainly my unmatched ambition. Simply looking at my training and what I've done, in easily the last decade. It really is about giving people the resources that they need to be able to do their job. At the end of the day, like any employee anywhere, every city employee simply wants the resources and the support to be able to do his or her best. And so that starts at the top, developing a strong partnership with the city manager, with the executive team, and certainly looking out to stakeholders and bring them into the fold. My leadership style is one of building consensus, one of shared governance, and one where we have the different diverse perspectives at the table so that we're able to move together towards progress.
Thank you. Mr. Stark?
I think it's about setting expectations. I think the people at City Hall do not know what to expect. I had a meeting with management staff back in 2016. I asked them a really basic question, and that was, what metric do you use for your department to figure out whether you are succeeding or failing? Just name one metric. And they couldn't. They do not have any direction because they don't know what to measure. So where I can provide assistance as a manager is to say, this is what you need to measure for how to run an effective department. Once we have metrics, I think we're going to have better outcomes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll go to the next question. Please forgive us. Our current monitors are being reset. We had a little glitch, so listen to the question carefully. This is question number 4. Thank you. We again are in the process of hiring a new city manager. What should hiring criteria, contract, and standards of performance be? Mr. Sumter.
I enjoyed when this question came up earlier. I believe that some of the other people that are running for council, why can't we find somebody here? Why are they looking elsewhere? It seems our last 2 or 3 city managers were hired from Northern California. They come south, they get a golden parachute, and take it right back up north. Why can't we find somebody here? Yeah, they're here for the money, so am I. But why can't we find somebody locally and even hire within? Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Miguel Lopez, please.
Great question. So what characteristics are you looking at hiring a city manager? I really do think we need to look at the previous leadership that we've had. What qualities did they possess that people like? Because I'll tell you that in every individual that we've had, there's been strengths, there's been shortcomings, and there's been desires from the community of the qualities that we wished this individual had. In terms of how we would evaluate their performance, I would simply look at focusing on their admin and management, their community and public engagement, which I think is critical and important, and certainly the outcomes, and being able to really move us forward with a strategic plan. I certainly, like previous candidates, would look at their background, their experience, their accomplishments, and you look to that to really determine where it is that we can go in this new, I'll say, era for the people of Oxnard. The work is daunting, but with the right person, we'll certainly be able to make significant progress.
Exactly. And Mr. Navarro, please.
I'm in full agreement of hiring local people. We have no need of somebody coming from another city, another county, and telling us how their city was. This is our city, not their city. They're here to be business people. I would like to bring back a couple of people that we've lost to other cities because of bad management. And actually, right now, we have at least 3 qualified people within the staff that could do the job.
Thank you very much, Mr. Navarro. And now, Mr. Starr.
One thing I look for in a city manager is honesty, because we've been lacking that, frankly. Every city manager out there who's been a city manager somewhere else has a record. You can look at their public reports they put out, they give to their existing city councils. And what I look for is, do they give their city councils choices, alternatives, options? Do they say, what are the trade-offs between this decision and that decision? What we get today is one option. Do this, approve the report, be done. That's just not acceptable. I would never accept that in a manager that answers to me. I want to know what metrics these folks have used to measure their success, because we didn't have any here. We need it in our next one. Lastly, I would rely on a person who knows how to run a city. For example, Mike Sedell used to run the city of Simi Valley. He did a great job. I would consult with him when I talk to interview.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Starr. And now, Mr. Gurley.
Question number 5. Please share some of your most positive and important accomplishment that qualifies you for consideration from the voters. Mr. Miguel Lopez?
I think one can definitely just look at my record and examine it. If you look at my past experience, like I mentioned, my present success, and that ambition and passion that I bring to the job. You're able to see in evaluating my record that I've been a community organizer, I've been an advocate at the state level, and I've also worked at the highest levels of government in Washington, D.C. I said this in 2016 because what that provided for me was also an opportunity to see government dysfunction at the highest of levels. But I was able to see what we were able to do when we partnered and worked together, when we built coalitions, when we built partnerships, when we collaborated. It really is the theory of shared resources, where not one party can do it all, but if we all put a little bit towards it, we're able to have greater impact and make a more significant progress. And so I look at my past experience, my present success, and my unmatched ambition and my passion, and that's what I bring to the office of mayor, and as well as the integrity, the honesty, and the leadership to really drive our community forward. Thank you so much.
Mr. Navarro.
Well, what I bring again is a business acumen and experience. I work with the Navy to show the importance of the military in Ventura County. I was on about 14 different ships at sea, and I got to choose the politicians that would go with me, so they would understand. I landed on the USS Abraham Lincoln and spent a day on it. On the Harper's Ferry, like I said, my job was to take local politicians and show them the importance of 17,000 paychecks from the military in Ventura County. I also worked with the University of Pepperdine to give Hispanic students scholarships to the University of Pepperdine. I was a member of the Ronald Reagan Foundation.
I'm a certified public accountant. I'm an effective manager of people. I think that's what we really need. One way that you measure somebody is how they deal with pressure. And pressure is having a city with unlimited funds suing you into oblivion. That is pressure. But you'll know that I will always do what needs to be done. I am the type of person who will always get it done, no matter what the pressure. I believe that when you're under pressure, that's when you make diamonds. Pressure makes diamonds. And we are going to accomplish a lot. I've accomplished much for you already.
Thank you, sir.
In the future.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to say that most of my positive accomplishments, it would take me hours to go back over my life. I feel very positive today and everything that I've accomplished in my life. Some of the important accomplishments. I have a beautiful wife today that loves me very much, and I love her. What qualifies me for consideration? I believe that I am honest, integrated, and I won't lead you down the wrong path. But remember, I'm only going to be here for 21 weeks unless you're re-elected.
Thank you. Sure. Sorry.
That's pretty interesting.
I apologize. I cut you off. Robin? You okay? Okay? Okay, sorry.
I think he was just saying you could continue because he stopped you too soon. You good? 21 weeks.
I'm really good.
Yeah, I heard that. 21 weeks, yeah? Did you hear that, folks? 21 weeks. Very, very good. I like it. I like it. This is question number 6. Gentlemen, Channel Islands Harbor, which the mayor and other city council members have called the gem of Oxnard. But many have said that it has been mismanaged by the county, which has jurisdiction, even though it is here in Oxnard. So, what can or should Oxnard do about that? Mr. Lopez.
You know, you talk about the Channel Islands Harbor being the gem of Oxnard, and people look at Oxnard, downtown Oxnard, and say it's a diamond in the rough. I think it's time to polish our jewels. It's time to take advantage of this recall and get our money's worth and really bring about a change. When you look at downtown, you look at the community there, the neighborhoods that are immediately affected by it, and I'll tell you that their biggest concern is infrastructure, it is roads, and are we going to be able to sustain the traffic, you know, to not compromise their quality of life? You have people, residents, who are deeply passionate about the future of that property and of that area, and for us, it really is an economic engine. We can really take advantage of bringing tourism, but we need to move forward, and I think, again, this is one area where the mayor has fallen short in his leadership of developing the relationships with the folks at the county to really be able to move us forward. So, tremendous opportunity, and one where we need to come together again to move forward.
Thank you very much. You see what you started, Mr. Starr? He made reference to the diamonds. Unpolished in downtown Oxnard. How about if you take the microphone, Mr. Starr, and give us your answer?
That's a tough situation because let's face it, the county has completely mismanaged that property for decades. They've certainly done us no favors. Before 2016, I actually recommended that we look at using eminent domain for the city to take over that property from the county. You can use eminent domain to take property away from another governmental agency. If we would do that, we would find a developer that will develop it for something that's acceptable and have them actually fund the cost of the eminent domain so that we can get the right project and we get control again. So that would be one approach. But if we can't do that, let's definitely find the best project we can do with the county, figure out a way that it affects people, the neighbors, in the least intrusive way.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Navarro.
First of all, the harbor doesn't belong to us. I stood at the harbor with my friend Gary Oppenheimer and Steve Offerman with a $15 million check to buy it and privatize it. We were shut down. Hello? Miss Barnes, wanted affordable housing on the project on the harbor. We offered $5,000 per unit in lieu of fee so they can use, the county can use that money anywhere else they wanted. We were shut down. I have the project. I have a copy of it. We spent $350,000 just on the project, and it died on the Board of Supervisors of Ventura County.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sumter.
The Oxnard Harbor is truly, in my opinion, a gem. I use it quite often. We go down there to the farmer's market, we go to the stores, we go to the different restaurants. It has been mismanaged though, because it is starting to go down. What can Oxnard do about it? I really don't know. We have to start to think, like some people said, eminent domain, annex this. One thing that I don't like is I've heard 400 units, 600 units. Has anybody thought about where is all that traffic going to go? Because it's not 1.5 cars per unit, it's 2.
Thank you, Robert.
I thank you very much. And now I give it off to Mr. Viola.
Thank you, sir. Oxnard, like many other cities in California, have a homeless problem. The question to you, how do you propose to fix it? Robert?
How do I propose to fix it? To go with the median Charlie. It's not their house more in this area. We need more housing for people that are in this area. People that are on the street, we have to talk to them and find out why are they on the street. There's some people that just want to be on the street. I know what it's like. Believe it or not, a long time ago, I was without a home. And I lived for a while on the street. How to fix it? Who knows?
Thank you,
I
Robert.
only got 21
Thank you, Robert.
weeks.
Appreciate it. Mr. Starr? Can we keep the noise down? It's really disturbing when the person is trying to speak and there's a lot of noise in the background. Appreciate it. Mr. Starr?
There's really two groups of people who are homeless. You've got a few people who live here and they've got some really bad situation. Maybe they're a battered spouse and they're temporarily in a situation like that. We need to help those folks. It's really hard to help the other group of people, which is mostly people with mental health issues and frankly drug addictions. And the problem I have is that many of them really aren't from here. They're from elsewhere. For some reason, they choose to be homeless here in Oxnard. And I would just assume that they choose to be homeless somewhere else. How we can do that, I'm not sure. I do think that we need to ask ourselves, what are we doing to attract homeless people to live here?
Thank you, sir. Mr. Navarro?
A very dear friend of mine came up with an idea, and her idea was, don't just count them, identify them. Many of them are wanted, what better place to hide if you're a crook than with the homeless people? Las Vegas, we're getting people from Santa Monica being bussed and dumped in us. You identify these people, you find the ones that have warrants, and you find the ones that maybe want to go home. Find out there's somebody that's looking for them. And you put them on a bus, you put them on a plane, you put them on a train, and you return them to their families. Not all of them, they have mental problems, but what we need to do is not just count them, but identify them.
Lopez?
I definitely think we have to look at what we've done. The city, time and again, year after year, they wait up until the last week before the first winter ice, starts blowing, and really we're at a place where we have our back against the wall. We need to do better. In my first 30 days, what I promised to do is to schedule a meeting and create that will eventually move us to creating a West County task force. Why do I say that? Because the city of Oxnard alone does not have the resources or the capacity to tackle this difficult problem alone. But you know who does? The county. The county gets monies specifically for public health, for addictions, and mental health issues, and we need to be able to bring all these experts to the table to be able to address this issue comprehensively. And it's not just about homelessness, but it's also about housing inventory and affordable housing. We really need to look at the whole picture. Thank you, so work at creating the partnerships to address this issue.
Thank you very much. And now we go to question number 8. Gentlemen, we have an approximate $414 million annual budget with very little discretionary funds in the general fund. What are your budget priorities, and how would you spend the $6 million settlement fund for downtown?
First question here. Let's see. What are the budget priorities and how would you spend the $6 million for the downtown settlement? But it's not $6 million anymore. Some people in 2016 was saying that it was more like 5.1, 5.2, and that number likely now is even smaller. There's not much that you can do with that to have a significant impact. What downtown Oxnard hasn't had has been a champion who's going to empower the businesses to bring their investment, to work with our public sector unions, the laborers, for example, who are going to come as a partner to really not only be able to bring jobs, good paying jobs, which is going to be access to the middle class and to be able to afford and provide for their families. So again, it's this theme of working together. Together we can do more, we can have a bigger impact, and so in terms of the budget, it's not only about being transparent, but about being strategic with what we're doing.
Okay. Mr. Starr, would you please help us with that?
I think our number one priority is public safety. Without that, nothing else really matters. So that has to be the number one priority. As far as $6 million, $6 million doesn't go very far at all. I'll tell you what I wouldn't spend it on, though. I wouldn't be spending on a person at City Hall to manage the $6 million. What we really need to do to benefit downtown is to simplify the permit process. Bring in permit simplicity. That's something I've been harping on for a couple of years now. We need to revisit our archaic zoning rules here, which are only for downtown. It's just crazy. We have special rules just for downtown that limit their success. We need to unburden downtown.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Sorry about that.
Mr. Summer.
Priorities, as has been mentioned time and time again, we got to look at public safety first. You know, our fire department, our police department, we got to take care of them. We got to give them the funds to do their job. As for the downtown, I enjoy the downtown. I use the theaters, I use the restaurant. Anybody know there's a little restaurant right across the street that's a little hole in the wall, but it's got good food. And you come down here, $6 million is not going to go very far, as Mr. Starr just said. It's not going to go very far, but why pay somebody a salary to monitor that $6 million?
Thank you, Robert.
And Mr. Navarro.
Well, I respectfully disagree. $6 million could go a long ways. A lot of things can be done. First thing we need to pave 8th Street from Willie Road all the way down to 5th Street. If you do that, then you make it safer and cleaner for people to be here. As far as the budget, use a purchasing agent. People are going around town spending money store to store on city vehicles, and we have no clue what they're doing. Let's put an above-ground gas tank at the city yard. We'll save millions of dollars on the fuel that we don't know where these guys are going with. They just do whatever they want, go to Lowe's, go to Walmart, shopping on our dime. Let's put a stop to it.
Thank you very much, Mr. I believe it's up to you now with question number 9.
Right. Thank you. Here we go. Do you support allowing the growth and sale of marijuana in the city of Oxnard? Robert.
That's a two-part question for me because it's legal in the state of California, but it's illegal federal. I'm a veteran. If I am caught with any marijuana in my system, I lose every cent I earn by being in the military. I served 4 years in the Marine Corps, by the way. Selling it in the city, it can create taxes, you know, so there's a good revenue there. Growing it, I'm opposed to it. But as far as the city, yes, we could go ahead and set up dispensaries.
Sorry about that, bro. Mrs. Stark.
I've never really understood people who smoke or drink or use marijuana for various entertainment reasons, but I'm not the type of person that wants to run someone else's life. I think that you have the right to make that sort of decision for yourself. And for that reason alone, I would support somebody being able to grow and sell marijuana in the city of Oxnard. I think that we can set up the right environment to make sure that the neighbors are not infringed upon. I think that you need to make sure that the right of security is there. You need to make sure it's away from perhaps a nearby school. I think that this can be made to work. The bottom line also is that the state voted for this. And if there's one thing that I believe in,
thank you, Mr.
upholding the voters' decision.
Yeah.
Mr. Lopez.
You know, it's a difficult question, you know, and it's difficult for many people for different reasons. For me, the question, do I support allowing growing and selling of marijuana? It's already happening, right? And so you look at other cities who are moving forward responsibly with doing it. The city of Port Hueneme, I believe the city of Ojai, Carpinteria, and they're all doing it at different levels of the production, of the cultivation, and of the distribution. I think that we definitely should consider what our options are because our community is crumbling. There are some serious infrastructure challenges to our utilities, our wastewater, our roads. The tax revenue of selling marijuana or any other business, you know, driver supports our tax revenue, which supports our public services and everything in the city. So I definitely think that we should look at ways to develop this, to do it responsibly, and really seize the opportunity that we have. Appreciate it.
I thought Varro had not spoken, but you were first, weren't you?
You're next.
Next question. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Navarro.
That's what I thought.
How did it get judged?
Yeah, prohibition didn't work. It didn't work, and this isn't going to work. The only people you're going to hurt if you make it legal, and it's just a federal issue right now, is the cartels. They're not going to be able to smuggle it, bring it across the border, and infiltrate our schools. If you control it, it's a controlled substance, just like alcohol. And look at it that way. There's no reason to go around about it. Plus, we gain on the revenue of the taxes and the jobs that it will create.
Thanks, Mr. Navarro. Sorry about that.
Indeed, and now we are on question number 10. The effects of crime and residents' right to public safety is important. Gentlemen, how would you improve it? Mr. Navarro.
A few years ago, when Councilman McDonald was in the police department, we started a volunteer code enforcement. And the intent of that was that people would patrol other neighborhoods, not their neighborhood. Not to engage, but to report. And that makes it more eyes on the street. And you can find out by getting rid of the hiding places, cleaning the alleys, couch patrol. And if you have to put cameras in certain places that are really a bad problem, and you'd be surprised you give somebody a $500 ticket that you just paid to take your couch away and you threw it in somebody's alley. He's going to quit doing it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lopez.
We have to be very serious when it comes to public safety because it is the foundation of any community and any community certainly that is looking to thrive. We've seen the challenges and evolving challenges that public safety have had, but we've also seen different approaches that we can take to certainly make progress when we work together. As many of you know, I worked as the Community Affairs Manager, really handled the external portfolio for the Oxnard Police Department during one of the most difficult, perhaps one of the most tumultuous times in the history, not only of the department, but for the city. We were able to get through that. We were able to rebuild trust. We were able to foster new relationships because at the end of the day, it's something that we all share an interest. I think we look at the effects of Mayor Flynn's leadership and the 2013-14 budget specifically, where he eliminated, I want to say, 23 sworn officer positions. And that was equivalent to over 600 hours of proactive policing per week. That had an impact. Our homicides are up 25%. We had one yesterday, and we had a shooting the day before. It's something serious, and we need to get things under control. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Sumner.
The right to public safety, I believe, is important, and I believe it is a right. I believe it is my right that I can walk down the street and expect to be safe in the city. How would I improve it? I touched on it earlier. I want the police to be more proactive, not reactive. And I'll finish with that.
Mr. Stark.
We've had a 70% increase in crime from 2011 to 2016, according to the FBI. But you look at nearby Port Hueneme, their crime rate went only up 10%. Other cities in this county didn't have rates go up anywhere near what we experienced. And the reason for this is because we abandoned community-based policing. We turned into a reactive-only police force. And what we need to do is go back to a proactive approach, which is what former Assistant Chief Police Jim Willis told me. I think the way you do that is you look at their police activity log. There are certain actions on the log that are reactions. They get called, and there are certain actions that are proactive when they're encountering some member of the public. Increase the percentage of that, and you manage the problem, you manage the crime rate down. That's how you deal with it. It's a management issue.
Thank you, sir. And Mr. Sumner. Is that right? Or did you do?
We got them all.
We got them all.
We got them all.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our closing statements, and this will be a 1.5 minutes max. And I also want to take this opportunity to call your attention, ladies and gentlemen, to one of the reasons we had this debate right here at Corner Pocket Billiard in downtown Oxnard, because of the venue. This venue is a very open venue. It is welcoming. Check out what I want to point out to you. Look around you, see all the young people. Look it up in the rafters. The young people we have here. Look at these young people. These young people feel comfortable in this venue, and they're getting an opportunity to see a bird's eye view of what our political process is like. And that's why we're here today. And I hope everybody that's going to see this recording hears that message. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go now to our closing statements. We'll start with Mr. Robert Lee Sumter.
Okay, my closing statement. I brought a piece of paper up here with me, and it's called the Code of Fair Campaign Practices. I did not sign this. The sole reason I did not sign this was there was already stuff being said about me. So I feel I can say whatever I want, but I'll keep it clean. Anyway, why I feel I'm best for your qualification here, I'm a leader, I'm honest. I am also, I wanted to start out with, I'm a liar, a cheat, and a thief. I just don't practice that today. I practice honesty. And it's easy, very simple. If I tell you something and it's the truth and it's honest, I don't have to remember a story. I don't have to remember what I told you. I don't have to remember what I told you. It is easy to be honest. It's hard to be a liar, a cheat, and a thief. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. For anybody that's here that's not registered, please go online, get registered. Go to DMV, go to Auto Club, go somewhere, go to the city clerk, get registered to vote. I will gladly accept your vote. Thank you very much, and good night, friends.
Thank you, Mr. Sumter. Mr. Starr, please.
Mayor Fleming's lost touch with the people. He was first elected in 2004. Does he have anything to show for it? I don't think so. He oversees a bureaucracy which is an obstacle to economic progress. This city mismanages its people and your money. We pay an extra half-cent sales tax, and we still have the worst streets in the county. That's just not acceptable. You've heard about the fiscal problems at City Hall. They don't even do monthly financial statements. What business runs their operation without a monthly financial statement? We have management problems to fix. We can eliminate waste. I think that this city has amazing potential. I think our residents are hardworking people. This City Hall is the reason why this city lags. We need to attract employers who provide jobs and generate revenues to pay for the basics. It's not enough to say we want better streets and lower crime. We have to create the environment that attracts the resources to do it. I'm an outsider. I don't come from government or academia. I come from the business world where you're held accountable if you don't deliver results. That's what I want to do for Oxnard. Deliver results, value for your money, and most of all, I won't overturn your vote. Please vote yes on the recall. You can vote Aaron Starr for mayor. Join my campaign at starforoxnard.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Starr. Mr. Navarro.
You know, when I speak to you and I put myself in the first person, because I've actually been involved. A few years ago, I brought the MVP of the Monterrey soccer team from Mexico to Oxnard. He wanted to buy, along with a gentleman from Italy, another soccer player, a gentleman from France. The corner of Gonzales and Oxnard both owns that property. Many people don't know that. The city shut it down. He was going to put in an academy, a soccer academy. And I'm not going to name the name of the person that killed it, but what they were worried about is their local cronies were going to lose their constituency, the people that they were being paid for, to coach here. I told them, you let me put that academy, I'll fill all the hotels, I'll reopen the airport, and we're going to have so much money, we can guarantee every child a chance to play. Also, the old Oxnard High School, get rid of, the city spent millions of dollars to inject water into those 2 new wells that they drilled because they have nowhere else to put the water. When you recycle it or you reclaim it, you need a vessel to put it in. We haven't got one. They put it right back into the ground at your expense. Why didn't we put that water back to the spreading grounds in El Rio so we can reclaim it again and lower our water rates?
Thank you. Mr. Navarro and Mr. Lopez.
So as I shared earlier on the recall, I share the mixed feelings of many. I acknowledge that it is a waste, it is unnecessary, but it is also happening. The reason I say that it is a waste and it's unnecessary because again, 34 days later, we are going to have the June primary election already in the books. I'm encouraging all of you voters and all of you to examine our records, examine what we have to say, and examine our visions for Oxnard. For me, I've had great success in government, in education, with public safety, with the business sector, and also in nonprofit management. I get things done, I am recognized for it, and I have to say that we just simply cannot afford to do business as usual. For many of us, the Oxnard recall election is more than just about Measure N and about our wastewater rates. It's about our families, it's about our safety, it's about our business community, it's about our future. It's about all of you here today, and it's about all of us in Oxnard. Oxnard is not any better today than we were the day after the last election. In many respects, I said we are far worse, we are more fragile, and we are on even shakier grounds. To that end, I fundamentally disagree with Tim Flynn in 2016, and I still do not have confidence in him, his leadership, or his ability to lead Oxnard. This campaign represents hardworking families, police and firefighters, teachers, laborers, parents, youth, community activists, our retired, the poor, and people in every corner of Oxnard. I am grateful to be here with all of you tonight. I'm grateful for the support that I've received from working families, from public safety, and the business community, and I'm here to ask for your vote, your support, not only in the next 2 weeks, but for the final 6 weeks of this campaign. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lopez. Well, Mr. Arriola, what do you think?
Well, I want to thank the candidates. It takes a lot of skin, a lot of energy, a lot of time, family commitment. Thank you. And thank to the other ones that I didn't get a chance to still in the audience, and thank their families for taking the time.
So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute break so that we set up the candidates for the third debate. Alrighty, I would like to call up to this ring Oscar Madrigal, Enrique Petris, John Reagan, Daniel Chavez Jr., Angel Garcia, and Miguel Marquez. Please come into the ring and we will set you up and start in 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
While we take this quick 5-minute break, if the candidates would please come with me, I'm going to do a post-round interview. So candidates, please come with me for the post-round interview right this way. Mr. Sumter, Mr. Lopez. Candidates, please come with me.
Very nice to meet you, sir. I hope that I'll see you again.
Where's Mr. Navarro? Where do you go, Mr. Navarro? Mr. Navarro! Morning, Navarro, where are you? Right this way, please. Mr. Navarro. Mr. Navarro, over here. Morning. Over here. We're going the wrong way, Morning, the other way. Morning. Yes. No. Morning.
Buenas tardes, Mr. Lopez, Mr. Navarro. There are 44 neighborhoods in Oxnard. How would you help and support each one? 44 neighborhoods in Oxnard. How will you support each one? Perfect, thank you. How will you make Oxnard more business friendly?
Is it just 2 people this time? Well, there are 4.
Perfect, thank you so much. Good luck.
I don't know who all's here anymore.
Aaron Starr.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe you should be young now. So, all right. So, okay. So, how do you feel? And how do you feel about your attendance from here?
I feel great. I feel like there's so many places to see. There's wonderful day, a great venue, well-dressed idea.
Thank you. So, honestly, some people say, hey, you're like the Oxnard version of the Houston Astros. Some people say you're like the Tupac because all eyes are on you. You're getting blamed for this recall and the potential cost of $1 million. I mean, what do you got to say about that?
The city spends $15 million a year. We spend about almost $50,000 every single year. They should be able to do this. I'm turned out to much consideration. It's not because the city's mismanagement.
So what would be your plans if you don't win for mayor? Where do you go from there? Well, look for Aaron Starr on the May 1st special election. Thank you for being here. Okay, where's Mr. Sumter? Mr. Sumter. Mr. Sumter. Mr. Sumter, right this way. Right here, Mr. Sumter. Post the date interview quickly. We have a few seconds. Let's post the date interview right here. Mr. Sumter, thank you for being here today. How about your performance and the
this recall
so it's what you want. I understand that, but if you win the election, whether it's 21 weeks or 4 years, a win is a win. So you're looking at towards November. What are your plans from here until May 1st? What are you going to do to connect with the Oxnard voters? Well, you're here today. We're going to make sure you're in the video. Look for Mr. Robert Sumter on the May 1st special election ballot. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. Just be courteous to the next round. I appreciate the noise level. It is really difficult for the candidates to concentrate, and I realize that this is an open... Jim. Please, can I have your attention? Let's take a seat. Let's keep the conversation low, or none if possible. Please, again.
I agree with you, Mr. Arriola. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in the third debate. And it's been a long night, so people are kind of anxious to get going and going home. But please, out of courtesy to our last debate team, we want to make sure that you all can hear them. So everybody upstairs, everybody in the green room, everybody in the booth room, can you all please keep your chatter down? And we're going to start this new debate. Por favor. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering the third debate. May we have your attention, Mr. Arriola.
Got it. Do we have a clock, please? Opening statement. Do we have a clock? We don't have a clock? Okay, here we go. Briefly, summarize your background qualifications and why you want or should keep the job, and describe your love and passion for the city of Oxnard. Got 2 minutes. to start with, okay, awesome, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you everyone for still being here. This being the third debate. I am born and raised here in the city of Oxnard. I've been here my entire life. I am a graduate of public schools here, graduate of Channel Islands High School. I am a graduate of Cal Lutheran. I have a bachelor's degree in history and a master's degree in public policy. I am a high school teacher. I worked at Pacifica High School for 7 years, currently working at Oaks Christian School. I've been on the city council since December 2016. I've been put in a situation that began with the city roughly about 2014. During my day, I influenced the future of the city of Oxnard through education. That's something I carry through in the evening with City Council. City Council, not only am I in charge of the president of the city of Oxnard, but also the future of this city.
Sorry about that. Mr. M. Garcia, please.
Hello, good evening everyone. First of all, I would like to begin by saying thank you to each and every one of you who are here today to participate in democracy. I appreciate you being here very late at night. I would just like to say that I am currently a student attending Channel Islands University, majoring in communication. Now, I would like to ask, what is an elected official? An elected official is someone who is the voice of the people, that represents the people. My friends, I want to be your voice. I want to be your representative. I aim to bring your voice to the council and make sure that they are represented. Thank you.
Mr. Chavez?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to address all of you here tonight.
Hello.
Check. This is the grand finale of the debates for tonight. So everybody in the room, make some noise because this is the end of the night. In 2015, I started to get engaged in our city government, working to learn the ins and outs of our city. I met with staff, I met with neighborhood councils, I met with local organizations, I met with residents, trying to find out what they needed from their elected officials. In 2016, I ran. Out of 11 candidates, I came in at number 6. As a first-timer, never involved in CAGs, never involved in the neighborhoods, but as a first-timer and over 6,000 registered voters felt that my message was truly one that benefits the city of Oxnard. I ran my campaign in 2016 with me, myself, my wife, and my family. No support from labor groups, no support from nonprofit groups, it was just me. I came in 6th with only less than $5,000. It's the exact same thing that is happening right now. No group is assisting me, it's all me. And the best way to do that is to have a message that makes sense. We need to protect our families, protect our community, and definitely protect our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Miguel Martinez, and I am your candidate for Oxnard City Council. My background, I'm born and raised here in Oxnard. I went to Juanita in La Colonia, Blackstock Junior High School, Oxnard, Channel Islands High School, Oxnard. I also have an associate's degree in computer drafting and design, and I have a bachelor's degree in computer and construction management. My other skills are, I am a construction manager. I've served as a superintendent, so I've dealt with different people as far as county and city inspectors. Same thing, I keep the job rolling forward. I also am a member of the IBEW Local 952 Ventura Union. So my qualifications are that I have many things, jobs that I've done. Excuse me, I'm a little bit nervous. It's my first time out. So let me just say, I'm rolling with it. Let me just say that I am here because change needs to come to Oxnard. Serious change. Lack of management, insufficient funds, the corruption that's going on, and the city managers that are just not listening to the people when they need to. So that's why I am here. Serious change needs to come to Oxnard. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Beasley?
My name is Enrique Petrin. I am a Oxnard resident for more than 40 years. I went to China Island High School. I went to Ventura College. I went to UCSB. I went to Cal State LA. I have a master's degree in public administration. I have experience in listening to constituents as a member of the former Ventura County Assembly member. I used to work with him. I got to get a lot of experience in listening to people coming in for assistance. So I have a lot of experience in listening, formulating solutions, and fixing problems. I would appreciate the role.
Thank you very much. And now we go to round 2. Question. What are your views on the recall and rate increases / Measure M, which the city is content with? Also, other recall drivers such as public safety, business friendliness, infrastructure, budget, and alleged mismanagement. You have 45 seconds. Mr. Pettis.
Officially, I am in agreement with the recall. I truly believe that the will of the people has been stopped. I think the citizens know better of what they need and what is good for them, not some bureaucratic elected member who decides to go on his own way because he has other issues that he wants to advance. When it comes to members elected, you are representing the city. You are representing the city, and you are supposed to do what the citizens want, not what you want. So we have an issue of dishonesty. The member who's being recalled, I believe, stated that he did not.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mr. Angel Garcia, please.
So, first of all, I would like to address Measure M. So, according to the Federal Census Bureau, Oxnard's income has only increased by $1,000 in the past 6 years, from 2010 to 2016. Now, when you hear a statistic like that, it is completely understandable as to why the people did not approve of the rate hike. Now, something that has dramatically increased over a span of 7 years is the population. It has increased by 10,000 people. Now, when you have a population rate like this, infrastructure needs to be managed correctly. So is public safety. These are all things that need to be addressed correctly.
Thank you very, very much. I'd like to go to Mr. Martinez, please.
I want to tell you the truth about the recall. I'm actually glad it happened because it goes to it shed a light on what's wrong with the city of Oxnard. So with that being said, now you know that this insufficient rate hike, we did not have to have this rate hike of 7.5%, and then they tried to, the city of Oxnard, actually Tim Payne and his cronies from the city, from the city guys, try to shove this down your throat. The public spoke, we don't want this. What part of no that we don't want this did they not hear? And this just shed the light on all the corruption that is going on, and the fact is that they don't care about the citizens. So I'm actually glad this happens. And as far as the infrastructure, we do need to fix all our roads here in Oxnard. It's a major problem.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Martinez and Mr. Chavez.
So the way that I saw it was the recall election came about not only because of the wastewater rates, but because of everything listed: public safety, business-friendly infrastructure, budget, and mismanagement. That was a huge driver. It wasn't just the wastewater rates. There's a lot that pushed people to vote yes, or just to simply sign the petition for the recall. When you see 3 council members that have served on that dais more than 1 term, more than 2 terms, and we still don't have a solid infrastructure, we still don't have a vibrant city, that's a problem. As far as the rates go, the city council made the wrong decision as far as the rate increase and the time span that it should have been. And if I had more time, I would explain why.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you. As a member of the City Council, the rate increases are not a popular decision, but a decision that had to be made at the present. I cannot speak for past councils, however I can speak for myself, and that means that I need to do what's best for the future of the city of Oxnard. I cannot leave an issue for future councils. As far as public safety goes, ever since I've been on council, I've been part of increasing public safety in the year plus that I've been here. The infrastructure, not at the pace I want to go, but it is slowly improving.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdullah.
Remember, there's 45 seconds, and obviously it's not enough time, but try to keep it short so we don't have to cut you off. How will you provide leadership to the city, especially to the council, to the city staff, our business community, and its constituents? Start with Mr. Garcia. Yes, after the statement. Well, previous question?
We will allow it. And
30 seconds.
You have 30 seconds, Mr. Chavez.
So when the city council made the decision to go ahead and do the new rate increases, only 1 council member said that I don't agree with the numbers. You don't have to pass the buck when it comes to passing new rates. There was 2 options that I kept pushing for the city council to go ahead and take. Keep the 35% and do 5.25% over a 3-year span, or option B, keep the 35% and do 2.5% over a 5-year span. It's a lower rates and not harsh on our residents.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to rebut?
All right, so we'll go to your question.
Question number 3, again, it has to do with leadership, providing leadership to the city, to the council, to the administration, to the staff, to the business community, to your constituents. I was going to start with content first. Yeah, go down the line.
Leadership is essential in any form of government, and leadership is what is needed today in this current council. Now, what needs to happen is you need someone who is willing to communicate with local businesses, and not only that, but residents of the city, to make sure that their views are being represented. We are here before you today because the citizens of Oxnard thought differently. Now, me as city council, I will make sure that your views, my fellow Oxnardians, will be represented and will be heard. Now, not only that, with businesses, we have to make sure that these businesses aim to serve the best interests of Oxnard. We cannot allow just any business into the city.
Thank you. Mr. Chavez?
So, again, since 2015, I've been engaged with our city's government. And during that time, I have honestly been meeting with city staff, building positive relationships that ultimately, that works best for us. We have a clear common core understanding on truly representing the city of Oxnard. I've been reaching out to neighborhood councils, I've been reaching out to the business community. I have a good relationship with the Chamber of Commerce, and that's how you be a good leader. You have to be a strong leader, and the only way that we're going to get that strong leader is by voting on May 1st and making that change. Thank you.
Mr. Madruga.
Thank you. Leadership is brought upon by humility and being able to work with others. Being on council, I have learned that it's not as easy as 1, 2, 3, and it is not necessarily what I want, but it is to work with the other council members, the group of 5, because if council does anything, 3 votes are needed, and it does involve working with staff, it involves the community, and it involves the businesses. We need to function together to get anything done in the city of Oxnard, and one pillar is not the.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Martinez?
Let's take a look at this. Leadership and the Oxnard City Council. They have lost it. The minute they lost it was when they stopped listening to the citizens of Oxnard. When we spoke and we told them we don't want this, the reason we're here because we didn't want this. When the citizens of Oxnard all spoke up, thousands of people all spoke up and said we don't want this wastewater rate hike, the mayor and the city council together, none of them had the strength enough to say no, don't do this. When all the people of Oxnard spoke and said we don't want this, what part of no did they not understand? The city council in Oxnard has lost this. We need to get the respect back, the trust back of the people to move forward. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen.
Thank you, sir. Enrique? Mr. Peters?
As a member of the city council, I will provide leadership in 3 areas. Number 1, I will provide budget and finance expertise that I have in forecasting city revenue, checking city expenditures, and safeguarding the city's investments. Secondly, I would provide motivational experience and skills throughout the organization to motivate staff, the community, and city employees to provide the best possible service effectively and efficiently. And lastly, I will provide professional skills.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We're going to go to the next round. This is question number 4. As you both, I should say, as you all know, we are in the process of hiring a new city manager. What should the hiring criteria, contract, and standards of performance be? Mr. Peters.
I consider 3 main areas. Number 1, the future city manager should have excellent budget and municipal budget and financial skills in order to manage the finances, the expenditures, and the investments of the city of Oxnard for the benefit of the citizens. Secondly, to have good knowledge of the motivation, how to motivate the staff, the city council, and the community in order to have a policy that is excited and acceptable to the community. Lastly, I would recommend that a city manager has good organizational skills to be able to manage the various departments of the city and contradictory policies.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Chavez.
So I believe that somebody or our city manager needs to have integrity, needs to be honest, needs to have ability to be able to bring groups together. We also need to hold them to their contract. The last city manager kept skipping over his annual reviews, and only 1 council member actually kept fighting for it to actually come up. The other council members just rolled over and allowed it to happen. Now, where's that city manager? He hit the road after a contract extension. We need honest people. We need people with integrity. If you're coming into our city and saying that you're going to do a job, then you need to start doing that job. That's the type of candidate that we need for a city manager. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martinez.
Our next city council member should, a city manager, the way I see it, he needs to have education. That's a big thing. He needs to get along with people and an attitude to get the job done. And, like he said, motivated staff. One of the persons that we did have here that is long gone, his name is Greg Nyla. I'd like to get him back. He did an excellent job from 2014 to 2017, but the city of Oxnard let him go. We need to get him back. He's our man.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask Mr. Madrigal to answer the question.
Hiring the next city manager is going to be a crucial step in what lies ahead for the city of Oxnard. Obviously, we need someone with expertise in infrastructure in different parts of the city. However, one thing that is missing, or that has been missing, is that we also need someone that is going to go out and is able to connect with residents of the city of Oxnard, because people need to know who the city manager is, they need to know their responsibilities, and they need to have a face to hold accountable as residents of the city.
Thank you very much. Mr. Garcia.
Now, I cannot stress enough the importance of a good city manager. Now, we have to be really careful and make sure that we choose a city manager who knows the best interests of the city and is well aware of the needs of the city. First of all, I would like a city manager who's a local. No one else would know the better of what Oxnard needs than a local. Furthermore, I would also like someone who has a very extensive background in education and also in experience. These are very crucial and fundamental, and it is very important that we find a city manager that has what it takes to get the job done and serve the people of Oxnard well with honesty and integrity.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Did you want to rebut Mr. Chavez?
I did actually, because there was a comment that was made up here by one of the challengers saying that Greg Nyhawk was a really great city manager. And honestly, that's further from the truth. Under his leadership, he had over 12 department heads jump ship. He had assistant department heads jump ship. No, he was not a great city manager, and that only comes with knowledge and actually knowing what is going on in our city. Educate yourself, people.
You'd like to rebut, sir? You have 30 seconds.
Yes, concerning the city manager too, we need to put him on put whoever person, whether it be he or she, on a 2-year contract. And we can, right here in Ventura County, we have very educated and competent people in Ventura County. We do not need to have some kind of a search firm to look all over the world for the city manager, when we have competent people here in the city of Ventura, and Ventura County.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Question 5. It's a 2-part question. The first part of the question goes to the incumbent. Please share some of your most important and positive accomplishments in office. Mr. Madrigal.
Excuse me. The most positive thing that I've done there on City Council is actually being able to get a grant to improve parks in the city of Oxnard for lower income neighborhoods. This was a big step for the city, as it helps with money, and it brings something to the kids, it brings something to the future of the city, because that's one thing we're lacking, a place for children to do activities. Lastly, probably the most important accomplishment is going to district elections.
Thank you, sir. The second part of the question is to the challengers. Please share some of your most positive and important accomplishments that qualify you for consideration of the voters. Let's start with Mr. Daniel Chavez.
So, after the 2016 election, I didn't disappear. I am one thing for sure is that I'm a unique candidate when it comes to running for our city council. I didn't disappear. I actually developed plans and presented them to the department heads. A plan for homelessness, a plan for redevelopment, a plan for improving our crosswalks in our city. Because I spearheaded with our public works department to get crosswalk safety under control off of Hemlock Street after a young child was struck on his way to school. New signs were inputted. I followed up with our public works department, and now they're going to be installing the solar strobe lights to improve visibility for our youth and individuals that are walking. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Garcia?
So as many of you may know, I am a newcomer to this. And the reason why I chose to join now is because I chose not to wait to make a change. I am here today and I stand before you today so I can make that necessary change. Now my accomplishments, when I was attending Oxnard College, I was one of the 7 students to speak at the graduation ceremony based on my academic performance as well as my involvement on campus. Currently, I am attending Cal State Channel Islands and am part of 2 clubs in charge of recruiting students to get involved on campus, as well as working with the California State Democrats on campus. And I choose to bring those connections and that information I have learned to the city.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Miguel Martinez? Mr. Martinez?
I've never really, this is my first time here, so I really haven't had any held in public office, but I am a construction manager, so I have dealt with different crews. I've always brought in our projects on time and within budget. I've dealt with different management, city and county inspectors. So I brought that tuition and I brought that all forward. And as far as, what is it, something most positive, well, I have a son and a daughter. And a grandson. So that was one of my big things. Besides that, and my college education. I graduated college in 2011, got my bachelor's degree. That was a big thing. And also my military service.
Thank you, sir.
Some of the most positive and important accomplishments in my life have been that I have always been honest with myself, with others. I have integrity. I have stayed out of trouble.
Speak louder.
I have stayed out of trouble. I am honest. I have integrity. And I have been able to listen when people need help. I am very proud of myself that I am always trying to help people in any way that I can. And I do not rest until I know that I help that individual, and that is one of the things that a new council member should have, the ability to listen.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sorry about it.
Thank you very much. And now we're going to go to question number 6. Gentlemen, Channel Islands Harbor, which the mayor and other council members have called the gem of Oxnard, but many have said that it has been mismanaged by the county, which has jurisdiction, even though it is in Oxnard. What can or should Oxnard do about that? Mr. Garcia.
So let me begin by saying that I strongly disagree with the council, and I do not think the Channel Islands Harbor is the gem of Oxnard. To me, personally, I believe that South Oxnard is not a gem, but a treasure of Oxnard. Driving down Oxnard, you see the vast amount of fields, agriculture, strawberries, vegetables. That, to me, is the treasure of Oxnard. Furthermore, Cesar Chavez Elementary School, the murals right here on 8th Street, those, my friends, are treasures and part of the culture we have here in Oxnard. And I'm sorry, but the harbor is not a gem. First of all, I would like to say that the county has mismanaged the harbor, and it needs to be managed more properly and needs better attention.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Garcia. Mr. Chavez.
So I think one thing that we can all agree on is that the harbor has just been mismanaged all around. It's falling apart. Now they're doing this proposal of 400 units to move into there, impacting the traffic on Channel Islands and Victoria, how many people actually can take 30 minutes just to get through that intersection? That intersection is horrible. It lines 3 agencies. It lines the county, it lines the city, and it lines the city of Port Anini. The problem is, and I've gone to the Board of Supervisors and I've talked to them about this, that they need to reconsider their proposal for that development. The county is the one that's responsible for that city. That property, sorry. The city of Oxnard's role in it is setting the policies and the ordinances in regards to that property. They should be taking a more active role that ensures that that property has open public access and does not impact negative on the residents.
Thank you, sir. Very, very nice. Thank you very much, Mr. Buckingham.
The issues with the harbor have been ongoing for years. As some of you may know, this is from a long-term agreement between the county and the city that dates back many years ago. However, currently, the city is at odds with the county over that project. And, you know, it's gone to the Coastal Commission, and the Coastal Commission has sided with the city of Oxnard to make sure that those apartments are not built. However, this does not mean that we still have issues there, and we need to help the harbor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martinez.
Thank you.
Concerning this quote, the Channel Islands Harbor is the gem of Oxnard. I disagree with that very much. The gem of Oxnard are strawberry fields. When they're picking it, you smell the strawberries, that's our gem. When you see our celery going on, they're picking it, you smell that, that's our gem. And as far as the Channel Islands Harbor, like you said, you do not need apartments there because it's just not feasible. The parking, whatever it is that they're going to build there, they need to allocate something for the parking because it's just not going to happen. And at some point, the contract's going to be up, and the city of Oxnard needs to negotiate a better contract that's going to benefit the city of Oxnard.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Peppers.
I believe that all the problems that we are experiencing is the fact that we have two people, hands in the same pot. Nothing in this world can be managed correctly if the responsibility to manage it is divided between 2 or 3 entities. So what I would suggest is that we go into an agreement to negotiations to try to give either the county or the city of Oxnard control of the Channel Islands Harbor. This way, you're going to have accountability. You're going to be able to pinpoint who the person is that is managing it, and any negative things that happen, to have one person.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mr. Arriola. Question number 7.
Thank you. Oxnard, like in many other cities in California, have a homeless problem. To the incumbent, what have you done to fix it? To the challenger, what would you propose to fix it? Let's start with Mr. Enrique Petrus.
The first thing that I would do is do an inventory of city-owned properties, vacant properties that are throughout the city. I see many vacant properties in downtown Oxnard that should be advanced by the city to some developer or builder to build affordable housing. We need to build affordable housing in grocery stores in downtown Oxnard so that one, you will have more foot traffic and therefore downtown will be revitalized. Number 2, you're going to take care of the homeless problem. So actually you're killing.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that. We need to move on. Mr. Martinez, same question.
Well, here this is with this homeless problem. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. A lot of people don't want to tackle it. San Francisco has it really bad. Los Angeles has it bad. One thing I would enact would be right away, because I don't want to see a bunch of tents all over the street everywhere they are. So I would enact some kind of a citation, some kind of criteria that you cannot put tents up everywhere you want to. The second thing is, the city of Oxnard doesn't have the resources for it, so it has to partner with the county of Ventura, with county agencies to do this. Some of my friends are military veterans. They were Vietnam vets, and a lot of them, 75% of them are homeless. And a lot of them have mental issues and stuff like that. So they need to have resources, mental programs, to end up overcoming what it is, the problems that they have. And some people that are homeless just don't want to be helped.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about that. Mr. Madrigal.
The homeless issue is a huge issue in the city of Oxnard. It has affected different areas of the city. Me being on council, I am the homeless committee. It is a complex issue, and as with anything in the city, everybody is very compassionate to people that have nowhere to live. However, as long as it's not in their neighborhood or area, then it becomes a large issue. Homelessness, I feel the city has taken it on as a reactionary item instead of putting things in place so to help out people before it becomes a huge issue.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chavez.
So this has actually been one topic that I've gone to our Homeless Commission 3 times on it. And on the last debate, you heard the chairwoman talk about it's very important to her to address homelessness. But yet, when I went up there and presented my plan, she didn't make any decision to put it on the next agenda. Transitional housing is what we need. Transitional housing that provides medical, that provides mental and behavioral health. Transitional housing that provides job training, trade schools, that provides an opportunity for people to learn financial management. That is what we're gonna need to actually address this. The winter warming shelter is a Band-Aid method, and every single year, once we hit the month of March, our city is scrambling and begging for money. That's a shame.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I would like to start by saying that the homeless problem is not just a city problem, but is a statewide problem. And there are many factors that contribute to homelessness. First of all, it is the surge in housing costs. California is becoming the home to many job opportunities, one of the biggest economies in the world, yet to live here is so expensive, thus creating more homeless people. First of all, one thing we can do to combat homelessness is to make them aware of the resources that are available to them. Sometimes these people do not know where to turn. We need to provide them with that guidance so they can know where to turn to for assistance. We also require more funding to address this very difficult issue.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question number 8. I love that bill. We have an approximate $400 million annual budget with very little discretionary funds in the general fund. What are your budget priorities? And skip the rest of the question, answer it. What are your budget priorities? Let's start with Mr. Madrigal.
As anything with being in the city, I think everybody wants to do everything, but there are limited resources. And that involves the city getting involved and trying to get, more funding. However, if that's not an issue, we need to work with the basic needs and go from there. We need public safety. We need to continue giving money to public safety. We need to continue to improve our infrastructure, and we need to continue to improve many different things in the city. As far as the $6 million go,
sorry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Petris.
I believe that the number one priority in a municipality, in any state, is to provide for the safety, the welfare, and protection of our citizens. That's the bottom line. We need to make sure that that resources are moved where they are needed in terms of police protection. We need to make studies to make sure where the crimes are and put those resources there to work. We need to look at the safety of our citizens, the sidewalks, the streets, and make sure that if there is some sick person.
Sorry, sir, but I have to stop you there.
Thank you very much, Mr. Martinez.
Well, first of all, like you said, $6 million is not really $6 million. It's a lot. It's quite a bit less than that. And I would figure out some way, where is it that it's most important to spend that money? Where would it be more wisely used? Would it be the roads? I think it would be. Would it be the wastewater treatment plant? That's another one. And the thirdly, I would say, because it's very important to me, like this gentleman said, we need more police officers. So at some point, I would spend some of that money to get some police officers back on the streets.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chavez, the first half of the question, please.
So one thing that we can all agree on, public safety and infrastructure. The best way that we end up having those two priorities is that we need to reform our policies. We have an outdated, our city goes against our reserve policy. We have a reserve policy and the city goes against it. The last city manager brought in a 5-year forecast that was going to show our reserve policies drop down to 5%. That is ridiculous. We need to update our reserve policies. We need to update our capital improvement projects because ultimately we want solid roads, we want safe sidewalks, we want our trees under control, we want our wastewater system under control as well as our water and our trash facilities. We can't have that if we don't start having a solid capital improvement project policy. Thank you.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
First of all, it is important that we are vigilant. It is fundamental that we are careful in what we spend this money with. Now, first of all, I would like to know what are we allowed to spend on this money on. First of all, I would like to prioritize that with this money, we should focus on infrastructure and focus on giving the resources that our brave men and women of our law enforcement need to continue to keep this city safe. Now, concerning the wastewater, this is a very important project and it must be addressed. Now, in order to do that, we need to be very vigilant and very careful with how we spend these precious funds. And in order to do that, we need to come together as a council and make sure that we serve the best interests of the people.
Sorry about that.
Thank you very much. I think I've heard from all of you. Mr. Arriola.
Simple question. Do you support allowing the growth and sale of marijuana in the city of Oxnard?
Yes.
We'll start at the top over here, Mr. Andrew Garcia.
Yes.
I like to keep it simple. Yes. Okay, but however, we have to be very careful in how we do this. First of all, we cannot allow these dispensaries to be anywhere near our schools. Not only that, location. It has to be very important where we place these dispensaries, that they're in a safe location with heavy police enforcement, so we can make sure that cannabis gets into the hands of the people that are needed. Not only that, California is expecting over billions of dollars in tax revenue. Imagine what we can do with that tax revenue here in the city. With that precious funding, we can address infrastructure and community safety. We should support the marijuana.
I am in support of cultivation of marijuana. I think this would bring great business and it will bring high-level jobs to the city of Oxnard. As far as selling marijuana, it is something we need to look at and I'm in favor of because I believe we need more revenue for the future of the city of Oxnard because our revenues are becoming a little plateau, so we need to find new revenue streams.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Martinez?
Well, here's the thing. I have a lot of friends of mine that grew up in the day of Woodstock and in the days of Helter Skelter. So this is 2017. The truth of it is, if we don't get on this, we're going to be behind. Look at California. Yeah. Wrong year. Look at California. Look at Colorado. Colorado has massive revenues that have come in from this. And if we don't get on this, we're going to be left behind. So we need those revenues that are going to help us, and that will help us help fix our infrastructure, our lighting, everything in Oxnard. We need to tackle that. Oxnard needs that.
Yes, we do.
Mr. Ups.
2010, the state of California passed medical use. 2016, the state of California passed recreational use. The problem is our city council. That's the problem. They are the ones that prevent our city from even considering having medical marijuana and even recreational marijuana. I remember one city council meeting last year where at least 25 people came up and pleaded their case to the city council to approve medical marijuana dispensaries. The city council says, we hear you, but we're not going to do anything about it. The problem is we need to start acting. Ojai passed us, Port Inge passed us. As the largest city in Ventura County, we need to be a leader. With this current council, we won't be.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Victor.
I do not support allowing the growing and selling of marijuana in the city of Oxnard. Period. I am really against any type of drugs that is introduced in the city. I worry about the young people who are growing up, and that's a bad influence. To be able for them to know that there's marijuana, you can go and buy, you can pay somebody to go buy it for you. We don't want that. If people need it for pain, go to the doctor and get regular prescriptions like the old-fashioned way. You don't need to abuse. That's a drug, and I do not allow that.
Sir. Mr. Ortiz.
Thank you, sir. Okay, our last question, number 10. The effects of crime and residents' right to public safety is important. How would you improve it? Mr. Martinez.
One thing that we can do that we already have is implement what we already have is a neighborhood watch program. And on top of that, we need neighbors talking to each other. Not just on the neighborhoods that they live, but the neighbors on the other side of the street or where they live on. Neighborhood groups like that. And I would give incentives, tax incentives to the homeowners and the apartment owners and to install cameras on their property. If they install cameras on their property, get some kind of a tax rebate on that. Same thing with the apartment owners. If they put cameras on their property, if they put cameras on their apartments, get the apartment owners to get some kind of a tax rebate for having that. And if the criminals know that they're going to be on camera, that would put a lot of that. That would deter them.
Very, very good. Mr. Chavez.
So the one thing that I developed for this election is for my first 100 days is an 8-point plan. And the first one is to place a moratorium on any future budget cuts to our public safety. When we saw budget cuts to our public safety, crime went up, and just last year alone, 25% increase in homicides, violent crimes. Property crime's gone down according to our police chief, but the problem is that when we were cutting budgets, we were actually, the former city manager was creating director positions that were over $100,000 a year. Where are the priorities when it comes to that? That is because of poor leadership from our city council did not give direction to our city manager correctly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, Mr. Angel Garcia.
Recently, I had the pleasure to speak to a police officer. However, he wanted to remain anonymous. He says that he does not respect the city council. He believes that the city council are not serving the needs of the brave men and women of our local law enforcement. Now, what we need to do is we need to provide the funding that they need in order to keep our city safe. The council must openly communicate with the police officers to establish a plan on how we can keep our city safe. Furthermore, if you look at homicide crime, a lot of these people who are committing these crimes, unfortunately, are young people. Young people. We need to establish important fundamental values to encourage the youth to get involved in their city and their community. Get them off the streets, make them participate in extracurricular activities that are healthy.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Mother?
Chief Whitney is working on getting community-based policing back. It does work. It does work in certain neighborhoods like Rose Park that has a great neighborhood watch. They've done it for years. They do it amongst themselves. They do a marvelous job doing it. Crime in the city has gone down by 11% last year. Homicides did go up by 25%. Since I've been on council, we have increased the police positions in the city of Oxnard. At the same time, there is limited funding. And, you know, we could not have a police officer at every corner, unfortunately. We are not that type of city because we don't have that type of funding. If we were, then, you know, who are we going to cut? And I believe that we do need to help out our youth more by having programs to keep them off the streets.
Thank you very much. Rebuttal, is that Mr. Chavez? Thank you.
So it was said that we increase public safety. But the problem was that when we cut all these vacant positions, we cut support staff, we only reinstated those positions that we cut originally. We haven't increased the number of positions, we only reinstated those positions. So how is that increasing when you're only reinstating, putting back the positions that the council already cut in the first place?
Mr. Garcia.
Okay, so incumbent Madrigal just stated right now that we are not that kind of city. My friends, I ask you, what kind of city are we if we do not prioritize the safety and wellness of the citizens of Oxnard? Why? What kind of city are we then? It is important that we prioritize the safety of the city. We need to provide more funding, have more open communication with our men and women of our local law enforcement. What kind of council and what kind of city are we then?
Mr. Who wanted to, do we have another rebuttal? Mr. Martinez.
Like you said, the crime has gone up like 70%, as Mr. Aaron Starr mentioned. And the thing is, if we end up, on certain areas of the city of Oxnard, we end up putting up video cameras, that would deter some of that. And a lot of things, another thing we need to do, we need to get these police officers out of their cars and start meeting and greeting people, not just when you see them at parades and stuff. They need to come and walk our neighborhood blocks and interact more with our citizens of Oxnard in the neighborhood.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Demetrius.
I think that I will improve public safety by spending more resources to establish community-based relationships and education. I believe that through education, the city is spending more money closely with families in every neighborhood, having meetings, the police department having meetings every week.
Thank you, sir.
Neighborhoods, that will help.
Sorry about this. 30 seconds. Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
That's quite all right. Thank you very much. Okay, you already had one rebuttal. You have not. You're absolutely right. Adelante, Mr. Madrigal.
Gracias. 2/3 of our budget goes to public safety. If we do give more, who are we necessarily going to cut? As far as me being on council, the year that I've been there, we have increased. Yes, I do understand that it's not to prior levels, but it is to higher levels than when I began.
Thank you very much. And now at this time, we're going to close these statements.
Yes, sir. A minute and a half, right?
Minute and a half. Okay, we'll start with Mr. Enrique Pettis.
Again, my name is Enrique Pettis. I will offer you integrity and honesty in every decision that I make. I will open the doors to everything that I do in the city council, whether it goes against my interest, but it will go towards your interest. Honesty is very important. When you don't have honesty in your elected representatives, no good policy comes through that activity. I promise you that I will be honest in every decision that I make. I will be open. I will invite anybody to ask me questions, to challenge my decisions, and it's my duty to provide to you the information that I use to make my decision. I will make the decisions that are best for the city, even if it goes against my interest, even if I don't get reelected. I don't think it doesn't matter to me. The moment that I spend
Thank you. Sorry about that. I've just been informed of rule. We're going to go 1 minute. This is 1:14. I apologize. Finish your statement. You got 20 seconds.
I promise you that if you consider voting me into office, you will be assured that you're going to have a person that has integrity, honesty, and is a hard-working person that's going to be working very hard every moment of the day.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Mr. Miguel Martinez. You good?
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming out here, but what I do want to say is, the reason I'm up here is because this system is broken. I'm here to fix it. I'm not here to sell you chocolate candies, and I'm not here to sell you cookies. I'm here to fix what is broken. When the mayor of Oxnard doesn't listen to the citizens, when they told him we don't want this, that is wrong, and I get mad. When I drive from Thousand Oaks over here, when it takes me 45 minutes to get from Newberry Park to Oxnard, 45 minutes to an hour, I get mad. When the city hall, the city managers, and everybody in management, that's a dysfunctional management, doesn't listen to us, that gets mad. When you go to ask questions for them and they deflect you, and you have to take them to court in order to get information, that's wrong. It should be a Freedom of Information Act. Get mad at that people, because we don't need this. Our city of Oxnard can do better than that. So now we are at a crossroads. We've been down this road before. I'm not going back down that road again. We do not need this. Our city of Oxnard can do better. So we do not want to ride on that same flat tire. So I'm asking you today, when you go home, seriously think about this. Because we are at a crossroads right now. And if we do not make the right decision, we are in grave, grave danger.
Thank you. Mr. Wonder.
Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. I want to thank you guys again for hosting the event. So thank you to everyone involved in this event. It's a good event. As far as everything else goes, I've been on council for a year plus. It has been a learning experience. You never really know what's going on until you are actually up there and behind closed doors. To the residents, I've had a great time going to different neighborhood meetings and talking to residents, getting to know their particular issues. And I am especially proud of the neighborhood behind Channel Islands. As an issue that took about 6 to 8 years is finally going to go to council this upcoming week. So to them, that's a victory to that whole neighborhood and that whole area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chavez?
Yeah, Mr. Chavez.
So it's pretty much simple. If you're tired of the career politicians, if you're tired of poor infrastructure, if you're tired of seeing our city just run into the ground by poor decisions, then vote no on the recall. But if you're ready for change, then vote yes on the recall, because ultimately we need that change, and the only way that our city is going to have that change is with new council members. These career politicians who have sat on that dais for a number of years have done nothing to improve the lives of our residents. Again, I didn't disappear after the 2016 election. I stuck around. I ran one time as opposed to other candidates that ran before and disappeared. Probably never ever stepped foot into a council chambers. I attended those meetings, I engaged with our city staff, I engaged with our residents, I engaged with our business community, and I stuck around. And as I promised back in 2016, that I would fight for our families, our community, and our future. I developed an 8-point plan. Over there on the table, you can go ahead and grab one of the flyers.
8-point plan that outlines what I'm going to be accomplishing in my first 100 days, because we need that. When May 1st comes, the choice is very, very clear. Vote someone who has been engaged and has a plan, and vote out the person that just sits there and is learning now. My name is Dan Chavez Jr., and I will be your next city councilman. Thank you.
I would like to thank each and every one of you for participating today. Congratulations, you stuck out through the entire event. Thank you for each and every one of you who stayed. I would also like to thank to all the hard work that was putting into organizing this event. Thank you to the host and everyone in Corner Pocket. I would just like to say, you know, people ask me, Angel, why are you deciding to run right now? Why can't you just wait for the next one? Well, I answer, why should I wait to make that change that Oxnard needs? Why should I stick around waiting when I can make that change right here and now? You see, my friends, I am here to inspire the youth that is up there, to let them know that you could make that change. All it takes is some action. Feet on the ground, get out there, participate in your local government. And I would also like to say, my friends, on May 1st, choose me, and as your elect, I will represent. And I will make sure that your views are addressed. I will make sure that your needs are heard. I will be your voice, my friends. I am a long-time resident. I have lived here my entire life. I will make sure that your interests, your needs are addressed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank our candidates for their passion and their candor this evening. And ladies and gentlemen, before I dismiss you, I would like to invite up to the ring Miss Gloria Massey Chinea. She has a very important message for us. She is representing the Election Imaging Project, and she's going to give you a quick little message about what she is doing and how you can be involved. Mrs. Massey Chinea.
Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Mr. Ariola. Thank you, council members. Buenas noches, Oxnard. Buenas noches. ¿Cómo están?
Cansados.
It's great being here today. How many of you have heard of Election Integrity Project California? I'm here to tell you what election integrity is. EIP has a place at everybody's table today and at everybody's table at home. Without free, fair, and honest elections, all tables will disappear. EIP California needs volunteers. EIP needs you. EIP wants to put eyes on the election process in our county and in our city today. There are 3 elections, May 1st being the first one, June 6th, and November 6th. We are going to be busy, and we need volunteers because we need eyes in the process. This year is your opportunity as a citizen to be part of this movement, part of the solution, not part of the problem. Thanks to the leadership and to the organizing group for having me here today. I feel I am Gloria Massey Chinea. I approve this message, and I am your candidate, or your coordinator for the Election Integrity Project, Ventura County. Be the trailblazer that you've always been. Oxnard has a name. Oxnard, we need to move onward. We need to be fair, honest elections in our process. Let's not talk. Let's act. That is why I like the word focus. Because follow one's cause until we are successful. And that is what we need to do. We need to be successful in having fair and honest elections. And we need to be open to have observations at every poll that we will have in the city of Oxnard. can't do it by myself. You need to be part of that. We are the people of Oxnard. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Gloria. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to volunteer with Gloria on this important project, please see her right after this is over. And I'd like to welcome a gentleman that's been here all night watching these wonderful debates going on, a candidate for Congress, Jeff Burrow. I wasn't calling you up, I was just giving you recognition, sir. You're very welcome. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, I beg pardon? What panel? We're done. They've done their closing statements.
We get 3 beer back.
First of all, I want to thank you, every one of you, for taking the time, the energy to put a campaign and put yourself out there. I know your family, your sacrifice, your business,